Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
You know, there was part of me, just a small part, that wanted the Cleveland Guardians to continue that losing streak. It stopped last night at 10 games so that when Bo returned, the Guardians would still be losing, to force baseball discussion on this program. Because it would have been before he went on his first vacation that they won their last game on June 25th. Good morning, Eric Reeser, Ryan Baker, Jacob Reimer, rolling with you on this Tuesday edition of the program. We're here with you until noon. We'll have Dom Tiberi coming on at 10:30. We'll do the real truth at 10 o'clock. And then our 20 most interesting programs continues with the Colorado Buffaloes as Big 12 Media Days start today in Texas. But, Baker, I was thinking that last night, and then Jose Ramirez crushed a 3-run home run in the fifth. And I thought maybe there's a chance, but then the Astros answered back, and it felt very back and forth until about 10 o'clock when David Fry hit a solo shot that I'm like, wow, they've actually won a baseball game for the first time in what felt like a long time. Good morning, bud. How are you?
I'm doing great, and it would have been awesome. We forced Bo to talk a little baseball, right? Especially...
I don't know if awesome's the right word, because that meant like 20 in a row. And I don't think they've had that bad of a losing streak in a really, maybe ever, 21 straight.
It's crazy.
It'd be like the movie, Major League.
Yeah, it's crazy to think
but less comical.
Where the Guardians would be without one Jose Ramirez. And then as we talked yesterday, Reese, after the show, it's such a shame that this guy is one of the superstars in baseball. Took less money because he wanted to be in Cleveland. He wanted to stay with that organization. And they've done nothing to put anything around him. And last year, as good as it was for the Guardians, and they had a great season, it's equally as tough right now for them. And we know this is baseball. The win last night could be the start of 5 or 6 in a row for them, and everything evens back out. But the underlying numbers, and you've been talking about it for a while, it just doesn't seem like this team is the team that the Guardians have had the past couple of years, and it seems like it's going in the wrong direction.
Well, it felt like, so Ramirez signs his hometown discount deal back in 2022, and to me it felt like he wanted so badly to return to that 2016 feeling, and I do think that him and his agent felt like if they did this, then the Guardians would act accordingly and reciprocate that generosity with teams around him. And last year they did that. I think they added like a 35-year-old pitcher that hadn't played in a long time. And I don't expect anything to happen this year. And I worry with Stephen Kwan, who's approaching free agency, that they'll ask him to do something similar, and he's not, and he shouldn't. And he shouldn't take that kind of a discount. But there are mornings like this where I wake up energized and I don't need my cup of coffee. I have coffee every morning, and mostly it's routine. I don't think either of you, Jacob Reimer or Ryan Baker, drink coffee. But today, for me, the Guardians win gave me a little bit of, I'll borrow a phrase, juice. But I also found out, I think most dog owners have this question pretty often, is if in a situation where there was an intruder in their house, would their dog rise to the occasion and defend the homestead? I found out that Odie emphatically would not. He's a 65-pound lab pit mix. And when I woke up this morning, you meander around, you figure out what happened last night outside of the Guardians snapping a 10-game losing streak. You figure out what you're going to do for the show today. And there was a bird in the basement. Now, I think I've discussed on this show a couple times having birds in the house. House is a duplex in Grandview, so it's about 100-year-old house. I think in 2026 is when it celebrates its 100th birthday. So there are all sorts of things that you would get with an older house. And we've tried to figure out, how birds are getting in, and I have no idea. But saw one this morning in the basement, and I had to do a double take because I was like, oh, is that a damn bird? And it was gone. And so then I'm thinking to myself, all right, am I just crazy? And so I'm finished in the basement. I go upstairs, and I just hear that something smacking a window. And I look into the living room, and of course, there's the bird trying to fly out of different windows. And I look over near one of the couches we have, and there's Odie just sitting there looking at this thing. Like, what the hell? Like, have you ever seen like a dog with a whimsical look, a questioning look on it, like tilting his head a little bit going, and I'm trying to yell at the dog, like, Odie, can you help with this situation? And then the bird comes at me. And so I see the little beak, and it's, within inches of my face, and that'll wake you up in the morning. And I open both the doors and eventually try to corral the bird out. But at no point has Odie done anything to assist.
So Odie's not chasing birds or squirrels outside or anything like that. He's just
staring at it.
Not worried about them at all.
When I take him on walks, he's not interested in squirrels. He's not interested in, like, we saw a rat the other day because there's a ton of construction going on in my neighborhood. And so that, coupled with the rain, a lot of the underground pipes and plumbing, they've come up. And so what brings with that are underground creatures. And a rat ran by us the other day, and he did nothing. He just looked at me. And I figured, if an intruder came into our house, he'd do the same thing. He'd maybe go up and sniff it. And it would have to be like Julia Child in SNL, where she's just bleeding all over the place, or the actor that was playing her in that skit. And that would have to be like an attacker to me for Odie to actually like, oh, I need to help my father. He's injured. Like, I'd have to be in the process of just getting stabbed multiple times before the dog would.
Well, let's hope we never have to find that out. And let's hope we never have to find out what links we have to go to get Odie to jump into action.
So I just wonder for the dog owners out there, if you've ever had that situation where you look over, your dog's lounging in the comfortable chair or couch or even bed that you've bought for it, and you go, would you help me in a situation where someone was attacking us?
My parents have 2 Great Danes. They've pretty much had Great Danes since I was a teenager. And every time they let the one out, they're brothers, and every time they let Gus and Hank out, Gus goes out the back door barking. Just going outside barking, and it's like, dude, what are you barking at? If there was anything there, You're not going to do anything other than slobber on it anyway.
Yeah, he barks at people walking their dogs all the time. Like, God forbid someone's walking their German Shepherd across the street or on somewhere near the house, and Odie sees it, and he'll freak out at that thing. But when there's an actual bird in the house, and the bird wasn't going to do any serious damage, but that's something that'll get you up in the morning. Like, it's not terrifying, but it startled the hell out of me.
That's not the greatest way to wake up.
Nothing, but it gave me a little bit of jump for the morning where the coffee wasn't a necessity, but coffee's just been in my morning routine for so long. I don't know exactly what I would do without it. Ran down the show for you a little bit today, just doing some research on the Colorado Buffaloes. And Jake Schwanitz from DNVR Buffs will join us live from Dallas at 11:30 this morning because, again, Big 12 Media Days are going at the headquarters of the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be a hell of a season for Colorado, who's, for the 3rd year in a row, gotten a completely new offensive line out of the transfer portal. Is this the year that Dallin Hayden finally lives up to what we kind of saw when he was at Ohio State in some flashes? I know there are a lot of Buckeye fans that are still wondering, like, what the hell happened with Dallin Hayden? Well, maybe this is the year where he can finally be a bell cow back for a major college football program. But when you're getting a 3rd offensive line in as many years, that probably doesn't bode too well. Colorado did get a quarterback out of the portal. They got Liberty's quarterback. They also don't have Shedeur Sanders for the first time. He also doesn't have Travis Hunter. By he, I mean Coach Prime is entering his 3rd season at Folsom with a ton of questions.
I'll be interested to ask Jake about that quarterback position because Caden Salter coming over from Liberty. But remember, Julian Lewis was the #1 quarterback recruit in the country last season in his class. So it's going to be very interesting to see, like, is this for sure Caden Salter's job, or can Julian Lewis wrestle this away for him? I think that's one of the most fascinating questions about this Colorado team, who I'm not sure is going to be so fascinating on the field this year.
And I've got to think that they think, along with a lot of Big 12 teams, this is our year. This could be the year for us. They were tied for first in the conference in terms of record, but boy, you lose so much talent and productivity. It'll be difficult, but the Big 12 doesn't factor to be too difficult. So we'll see, what Colorado expects going into year 3 of the Coach Prime experience. Some news out of the NBA yesterday got me thinking maybe now's the time for LeBron to return to Cleveland. That's next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Got one of those days that never stops? Try a stop at Speedway. Refresh your fuel tank, refresh your U-tank with 69-cent large Big Gulp drinks. And refresh the vibe for any drive. Refresh at Speedway with 69-cent large Big Gulp drinks with Speedy Rewards, and try exclusive Mountain Dew Infinite Swirl flavor for a limited time only. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 8/26/25. See app for full terms.
It's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place. Leslie, what's that hot lamp against your window for?
Pella windows are tested up to 160 degrees, Wilson, to ensure efficiency and the lowest energy bills possible, even in the craziest of temperatures. Put your hand on there.
All right. God, that's hot.
On the window, Wilson.
Oh, hey, that is quite nice and cool. So I'm going to go grab some ice now.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rated #1 for innovation at PellaColumbus.com.
Everyone has that one goal, that thing they want to prove, not to other people, but to themselves. Then, right when you think you could actually do it, cancer. And that goal is still within reach. Oh no, I'm about to run my first ever marathon with my 2 best friends. 3 years after having cancer.
At least we look good in these shorts.
Woo! Let's get it, guys. You, keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
The big one is back. The Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals presented by PPG. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Over 6,000 of the nation's baddest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Don't miss Good Guys autocross racing action. A tire-smoking burnout competition. A pro street takeover. Earth-shaking nitro thunderfest. Meet the top builders in the industry and more. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply.
Ever wonder where your go-to maintenance person gets the metal products they need to fix yours and everyone else's problems? The best in the business go to Metal Supermarkets for their wide variety of metal products and shapes to tackle projects from simple to complex. Metal Supermarkets is your source for all metals cut to size and ready fast. No minimum order with maximum service. Visit the family-owned franchise on North Wilson Road or at Columbus at metalsupermarkets.com.
Join the Fan weeknights at 6 for the Buckeye Show. And if you're asking if it's just a bunch of homers rooting for all things Ohio State, yes it is. Proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes, the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Now is a great time to schedule a back-to-school dental appointment. Dr. Hal Jeter, president of the Ohio Dental Association, is here to tell us more.
Your child's teeth and gums need the right food, nutrition, and vitamins to grow strong and stay healthy. Help them maintain good oral health by brushing every morning and night, flossing, visiting the dentist twice a year, and developing good eating habits. As kids head back to school, it's important to know that foods and drinks high in sugar, acidity, and other cavity-promoting substances are often low in nutritional value, and they have the potential to create plaque capable of damaging tooth enamel. A back-to-school dental appointment can diagnose any potential problems and improve your child's oral health. health. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state, are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care, are bound by the highest ethical standards, and obtain superior ongoing education and training. Ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association so you know you are being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit ODA.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A mainly dry day today for us with more sunshine and afternoon highs getting into the upper 80s. For tonight, lows overnight down into the 60s. We'll still see that humidity with us going into Wednesday with partly to mostly cloudy skies, and we could see some isolated showers and storms in the afternoon with highs again in the upper 80s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
All the Ohio State conversation you can handle. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
Your Ohio State flagship station. The Fan. 10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying. It's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yes, you are. Reeser and Baker on a Tuesday edition of the program. I was just looking at the schedule for Big 12 Media Day. It starts today. Well, it starts today. It's also tomorrow, Big 12 Media Days at the Star in Frisco, Texas, so the worldwide headquarters of the Dallas Cowboys. And looking over the teams that are going today, I'm reminded of several that were in the Big 12 that this morning I was like, oh, I didn't know they were actually part of that conference. So you have Arizona State that'll start things off at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. Baylor, BYU, Central Florida, Cincinnati, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Texas Tech are on the docket Tuesday. And then Wednesday, Arizona, you'll have Colorado and Coach Prime with both the quarterbacks that you had mentioned, and Julian Lewis and Caden Salter. So that's
interesting.
Something I haven't seen, at least in as long as I've been covering a media days, is a team taking both quarterbacks, or two quarterbacks, I should say.
I feel like that is already a recipe for disaster, right? Because you're putting both quarterbacks out there, and usually you do not want your backup quarterback heard from. And usually when you know the backup quarterback, and it's easy when the starter struggles a little bit to clamor for that guy, and it just starts causing problems. So that's a very interesting move.
So Martin asks a really good question in our YouTube chat about the health of Coach Prime. Because, yeah, that's huge, right? And he's been battling, I think, a toe issue for amputated almost. And this was back in June, where he says, I assure you everything's okay. We'll continue to be so. Excited to get back to Colorado, be at home with my staff and team. So June 11th, he was back with the Buffaloes, and he will be with Colorado, or he's scheduled to be with Colorado tomorrow when they do Big 12 Media Days. But we'll get a health update on Coach Prime from Jake Schwanitz of DNVR Buffs. Easy for me to say, coming up at 11:30. But I was talking, and it's been talked about, I think, for the past couple of weeks, about the potential for LeBron to return to Cleveland. And I haven't been giving it too much attention because I just think that's what LeBron would like. It's the summer, the NBA finals are over, the NBA draft's over. We're now doing summer league. I think it was Bryce Sensabaugh had another great game for the Utah Jazz last night, and the attention is elsewhere, right? Wimbledon's going on. People are interested in baseball season. You have the aforementioned Big 12 Media Days. You have SEC Media Days next week, and the ACC and the Big 10 Media Days will round up that final full week in July. And so all of our attention's all over the place. And so LeBron does what he does, I think, every summer, and wants to make things all about him. But with the news yesterday that the Pacers, and they confirmed Tyrese Halliburton's going to miss the entire 2025-2026 season, has me thinking, if it's not now for LeBron to return to an East that's very easily winnable, when? Because some other big news, and I'll use big in air quotes, was Paolo Banchero agreeing to a 5-year, $239 million deal with the Orlando Magic. So to get by in the East, you've got to get through Giannis, Jalen Brunson and his dad, Paolo, and a couple of Wagners. Do I have that correct? So for LeBron, if you wanted to return to Cleveland, make your way to the NBA Finals, this would be the time.
It sure seems like this. To me, though, if I'm a Cavs fan, the immediate question I have to ask is, what's the price? What do you have
everything?
What do you have to give up to get 1 year of LeBron back? And then that's the case right there. If you're giving up everything, you've just turned into the Los Angeles Lakers, and I don't think you're a better team. I don't think your chances of winning have gone up if you just have LeBron and Donovan Mitchell, and that's it.
I don't think you're, I'm hesitant to say if you're overall not a better team, but if you might be better right now to make a run now with LeBron, with Donovan Mitchell, if you're able to keep an Evan Mobley or a Jared Allen, I can't imagine for the Lakers a deal would start or they would even continue with a conversation about a trade if it didn't include an Evan Mobley in the return. It does feel like the Cavs are looking to deal Darius Garland. I mean, they were at least sniffing around the Kevin Durant deal. But yeah, just with the news yesterday, if you're going to do it, and I don't think he will, better now than never.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm big on it just because, yeah, you're going to have to basically go into a restart with what you're going to have to get rid of. And you already have a good young core that was just the number 1 seed, had one of the best records in the league, one of the best records the Cavs have had in a while. I don't think it'd be a great move for them. It would be taking a step back because, yeah, you're getting a 40-year-old some LeBron for just 1, maybe 2 years.
And I think that's the thing, too, in this is LeBron's got 1 year left probably. As you mentioned, Reimer, maybe 2. Now, if you win the championship, maybe it's worth it, but you have a young core that you've invested here in. Mm-hmm. You said, we're going to run it back, and you did, and unfortunately you came up short. Maybe there's going to be tweaks and changes here. But you obviously believe in this team you have now to some extent. Is it worth breaking up the future of this team and possibly the future of the organization for just one crack at this thing?
I mean, it's the age-old question. You're trading a championship now and 5-10 years of average if it guarantees you a championship in 2026.
Well, and you're never guaranteed. Sorry, Jacob. You're never guaranteed, but I don't think this is even like a 90% guarantee or a 75% guarantee. Like, depending on what you have to give up for LeBron, again, the pieces that you lose out on, you've got to have something. That's part of the problem with the Lakers is they traded everyone away to bring in AD, and they didn't have a lot of guys around these guys. Now, they did get the one bubble championship, right? Which, unfortunately, is always going to have an asterisk, I think, because of it was in the COVID bubble. But was it worth it to the Lakers? I would think they're going to say yes because they won the championship.
Yes, they would say yes, and they should.
But I don't think – I'm not even sure if this is if the Cavs bring LeBron in, I don't know what the percentage chances are, but I don't think it's much higher than you are right now.
Nate says stop acting like the Celtics don't exist. They got bounced in the playoffs because of injuries. Well, they don't have they're going to have Jason Tatum.
And they've
also
traded everyone.
He looks like he's trying to get back way sooner than he should.
Sure. I think he sees it as well.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I think you're seeing around the East is the understanding that, well, let's go now because the Celtics exist, but without Jason Tatum for half the season,
most likely
for even more than half, like where are the Celtics going to be when he returns? That's why they pretty much I thought what Boston did 2 weeks ago to try to get under was like the first apron or whatever cost-cutting measures they made it seem to me that the Boston Celtics are not a serious contender in 2026. They're trying to play we're going to get a new ownership group in. I think that goes into effect in the next couple of months, and then they wait this next season out and figure what they want to do in the 26-27 season. So, look, I agree with you, Baker. I don't think it would be worth it for the Cavs to go all in and try to – if the LeBron wanted to come back to Cleveland, though, you don't say no to LeBron.
Well, and
I want them to, but they wouldn't.
Yeah. I feel like that's very true. But I do like the move that they made to bring in Lonzo. Like, I know it doesn't generate all the hype that it probably did a few years ago, but he has shown that he can be a defensive stopper. Sure. He's a solid defensive guy that you can have come off the bench and an elite playmaker, in my opinion. If he stays healthy, that could be like an Alex Caruso type role that you saw with OKC.
Yeah, and I think with any move the Cavs make in the offseason, there's just a lot of apathy around it from Cavs fans because, and I forget which player actually said this at their post-mortem, they're not playing for the regular season anymore. And this was the fear that I had going into the series against the Pacers, was if you were going to get punked the way that they did, you wouldn't be able to enjoy an NBA regular season. You wouldn't be able to enjoy Cavaliers basketball until next May because, yeah, great, you're going to win 64 games in the regular season. The Cavs will probably win 60, 61 if they run everything back as was the same as last season with Alonzo Ball. It's like, yeah, but let's see what you can do in an Eastern Conference semifinals or in an Eastern Conference final. Again, I just was thinking about this yesterday. I would like them to run it back with everybody rather than go and get LeBron. Because I think what they could do next season with an East that's going to be much easier, there's that opportunity there. Now, if they can't get it done with the easy East, like I said, then I think you can have a conversation about maybe blowing it up. But I'm good without LeBron.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you, Reese. If they don't get it done next year, especially in an East without Tyrese Halliburton, an East without Jason Tatum for at least most of the year. I mean, if he comes back or not, who knows? But he's going to be out for most of the season at least. It's time to do some changes, right? And maybe like this year, we're talking about maybe some tweaks, a move here, a move there. Next year, Next year, it's not tweaks. Next year, it's big moves.
That would have to be done depending on their postseason run. I just saw the fan poll pop up on my feed that asked, have you ever burned a sports jersey that you've owned? And right now, I mean, there's only 30 votes on this thing, but 97% of you say no. I can't remember. I don't know anybody that's burned a jersey. And I know a lot of Cleveland fans. And even when LeBron left the first time after the decision, no jerseys were burned.
It's just insane to me. You spent some hard-earned money on it.
Yeah, there's that.
Like why just go start a fire and throw it right in there? What's the point of just throwing dollars down the drain?
Baker, have you had the inclining to burn a jersey?
Never, ever.
Because I don't wear jerseys, so I know you have several Blue Jackets jerseys, but are any of them players?
No.
Okay.
I do not. A long time ago, I quit doing player jerseys because you never know, like, if they're going to stay on your team, where they're going. They're switching teams in 2 years. So I, a long time ago, quit doing the player jerseys, just do my own personal number that I like and things like that.
I had a Panarin T-shirt, and
that doesn't count.
Yeah, I quickly got rid of that. Now I just have a Blue Jacket shirt.
Did you throw it away, or
no? I sold it.
Okay.
Yeah,
you sold it to who?
Well, just took it to a.
Oh, you thrifted it.
Yeah, thrifted.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense because
that's basically burning it, right?
No,
I mean, somebody else gets it.
Well, I was thinking you go the way because I had a Clippers jersey or Clippers shirtsy, and I cut the sleeves off of it, and that was just my yard work shirt. Like that's what that became. Is Ohio State Penn State a good football rivalry? We'll discuss that in 2 minutes. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Call the folks at Buckeye, night or day. My toilet's clogged, bathtub too, the sink is running slow. Water's backed up everywhere, oh please don't overflow.
Clogged drain, no problem, it's 93 or free. I'll clear any drain or you don't pay with a 1-year guarantee.
It's 93 or free, guaranteed.
Call 614-683-9911. Call the folks at Buckeye, night or day.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Summer's heating up, and so are the deals at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Whether you're cruising to the lake or hauling your weekend gear, Germain, well, they've got the truck to help you get it done. Right now, get 2.99 APR for up to 72 months on the rugged 2024 Tacoma, or step up to the powerful 2025 Tundra, also 2.99 for 72 months. These summer savings, they won't last forever. So visit Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
Here's what's up on a Tuesday. It's ranking season. Obviously, the traditional summer sports talk radio topic. Pick a thing and rank them. Our buddy Scott Docterman at The Athletic ranked college football's 100 best rivalries. Any guesses at who is number one?
Well, I mean, there's only one answer, right, for number one.
Well, north of the Mason-Dixon.
It's the game.
That's what Scott says.
Ohio State, Michigan.
A series that began October 16th, 1897, with 120 total meetings. The team up north leads 62, 52, and 6. Of course, it's been 4 straight for the Wolverines, and I would have to agree with Scott, and I'd even extrapolate that out to sport. The greatest rivalry in sport is Ohio State and Michigan. I would sit at a table and have a placard over the table that says, change my mind, but you wouldn't be able to. So I don't know if I want to have the conversation. Certainly, I don't think anybody within the sound of my voice is interested in that either, as the game has presented some of the best moments personally, and I think for a lot of you in sport over the last 25, 30, even 40 years. At number 2, Scott's got Auburn, Alabama, the Iron Bowl, which I think you could argue has produced as many good moments or as many great and historic college football moments as Ohio State and Michigan. Then you've got Oklahoma and Texas, which I think out in that part of the country, similarly. Army-Navy is 4th, which that's a national rivalry. Yeah.
And, you know, it's played every year. It's played on the same weekend every year.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Army-Navy, I could see the argument for that being number one from other people, although I understand, and I don't agree. I think Ohio State, Michigan is there, but I definitely think Army-Navy is a top 5.
And
right?
I think the importance of a rivalry is that it's constantly happening. Correct. Like it is every single year something that you think of, something you look forward to, especially in the case of Ohio State, Michigan. It's daily. I'm 100% positive that at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, Michigan is constantly in their minds. Like you heard it from Jeremiah Smith a couple weeks ago.
Especially right now.
It's a daily occurrence that Michigan, you have to beat the team up north. That's something that personally, as an Ohio State fan, I don't think your season should continue for either squad that loses that game. But in the expanded college football playoff, and really even in the BCS era, you could afford a loss in the game and still have postseason and national championship aspirations, as was shown in 2024, where you lose the game in the most inexplicable fashion ever to an unranked Michigan team, but you then go on the greatest postseason run in college football history. And for Ohio State, as you exit the 12-team era and you enter the 16-team era, likely next season, I don't see a situation where the Buckeyes lose out, regardless of what happens. But he's also at 8, got Ohio State and Penn State. And I wonder if that's even a rivalry. I think there are and have been moments that certainly make Ohio State, Penn State special. Whiteout moments, walk-off sack moments, heartbreaking losses, tremendous players on both sides, games that when you go, if it's the whiteout or if it's been a special game in Columbus, you remember it forever. But I think it takes 2 to tango in a rivalry situation, and I don't get the sense Penn State's got an interest.
Well, they prove. It's not a sense. They proved it.
Okay.
They said they don't want to play that every year. They didn't want Ohio State as a rivalry game when the Big Ten asked these teams to present their 2 teams. Ohio State presented Michigan, obviously, and they presented Penn State presented nobody. So they've proven that and listen, when Penn State first came to the Big Ten, they did get Ohio State a couple times. I remember that 95 team with Kerry Collins and LeVar Arrington and all of that. But this has been a pretty one-sided thing.
When the moments have mattered the most, It's been the Buckeyes recently. I wonder, because I don't remember when Penn State joined the conference, but when the Nittany Lions did, was it similar to Nebraska where they thought they were going to come in and run the Big Ten for a decade plus? Because I remember that being the feeling from Nebraska fans. Like, oh, we're out of the Big 12. We're coming to the Big 10. We're coming to dominate.
I don't remember, I guess, if that was the feeling, and I don't think so. But I definitely got the feeling that they were going to come in and compete. Correct? And they did right away. They had some really good teams.
Because they had some incredible teams.
Some really awesome teams back then. Like I just mentioned, that 95 team that stung Ohio State pretty good. And listen, Penn State's been there. Penn State hasn't had a lot of really crappy years. They've been a team that's
college football playoff.
Yeah, they've been a team that's been right there in the upper fourth of the Big Ten for the most part, but they just really haven't won anything.
And when I say I get the sense that Penn State doesn't consider this a rivalry is because I wonder if there's a different thought process for Penn State fans, alumni, boosters, and the Penn State football program currently. Because I do think it was it was purposeful that James Franklin and the program he's running didn't put any rivalries down, because if they had put Ohio State, then that would have meant a yearly game against the Buckeyes, and it would be more beneficial for Penn State under James Franklin to make the college football playoff if you can avoid Ohio State, because his record in big games, even like X's AI bot Grok said, yeah, Penn State's got a bunch of talent, but James Franklin. And so I wonder if Penn State fan says, yes, we want to play the Buckeyes every single year because we want to test our mettle. We want to see how good we actually are. Is that different from the thinking of James Franklin that says, I just got to make the college football playoff. I just got to win 9 games and have those be good enough to maybe eke into a Big Ten championship and then maybe make the college football playoff. If I can avoid Ohio State, that helps my chances.
Well, right there, and your thinking proves that it's not a rivalry, right? Because I don't think anybody would feel it doesn't matter if, this helps my chances. They're not going to give that up. Maybe it's different now. I don't know, but I don't believe so.
Well, I just wondered that because for Ohio State, Penn State to be ranked 8th in Scott Docterman's list of 100 best college football rivalries, there's got to be there's a disconnect then.
I think what it is the big moments that game has had. And we've had it almost every year for the last 20 years. I also think there's a recency bias in some of this, which we're talking about right now. So maybe that's the case. But like when I look at this list, I wonder if this was 20 years ago, would USC and UCLA be 14th?
Yeah.
Or would they be up higher in that 8th
Alabama,
spot?
Tennessee.
I also see he doesn't have on this list, at least in the top 20, which is kind of baffling to me. He doesn't have Bedlam on there. Oklahoma State and Oklahoma.
They are 25th.
They're 25th. So, yeah, like that, I feel like that's a rivalry that should be higher, but they've kind of punted on it.
Well, you had Mike Gundy say that they're not playing that game anytime soon, and that's a shame.
It's a huge shame. And listen, Oklahoma's got a lot of teams on here. Like Oklahoma, Nebraska used to be a huge thing, and that's one of the ones on this list. That used to be big. Obviously, Red River is huge. I mean, you could argue that Red River could be number 1 on this list, definitely could be number 2. So there's a lot of things in there like that. Pitt, West Virginia. Like, I feel like Pittsburgh or West Virginia fans are going to argue they should be higher than 26. But I think in some of these, you see Ohio State, Penn State, and they've had so many big-time national moments recently where both teams were ranked in the top 10, and there was a lot of drama around it and everything. So I think he's putting the relevance of the games that have happened on a national scale maybe a little higher here in some of his thoughts.
On 84 on this list, again, this is Scott Docterman of The Athletic. He ranked college football's 100 greatest rivalries. He's got the Yellow Buck Trophy, Ohio State and Illinois. Is that a rivalry? I mean, there's a trophy.
I mean, you got a trophy.
Is that?
I mean, I don't know. I know Illinois 07 still stings, right? But I don't know if it's a rivalry, but down at 84,
I guess we're
kind of splitting
you gotta
hairs
start
here,
ranking
right?
them, right?
But, I mean, I would not think it's a rivalry, personally.
A lot of consternation has been made over the meaning of Ohio State and Michigan now that what you've seen on the field renders it not as important. Does that make sense? When I say when you lose that game, yet you still have a postseason path ahead of you, it does diminish it somewhat. We have some wise words from a great friend of the program on just how diminished Ohio State, Michigan may or may not be. And then some comments nationally about the game coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. Just freak the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Your neighborhood Kroger pharmacy is happy to welcome back Express Scripts Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense Plan members. It's easy to transfer prescriptions at Kroger.com/payer update. See your Kroger pharmacy for details.
2 years ago, Bobby Carpenter completed treatments for knee pain at QC Kinetics. So we're checking in with the former college and pro football player to see how he's doing.
I've been asked a lot, like, how long does this last? How long does it work? I go, I've had mine for a couple years, and everything feels very good. It feels just as good as it did when I started to turn the corner.
Bobby's an active husband, dad, and business owner. That's why 2 years ago, he heard about QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative treatments, and he knew he could trust them for his chronic knee pain.
And thankfully with QC Kinetics, I was able to go through this, and my activities are the same as it was. I'm able to coach my kids in sports. I can play golf. I can go run.
QC Kinetics patients like Bobby don't miss a beat. No surgery or rehab, just freedom from debilitating joint pain. Ready for lasting relief from joint pain? Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation and see if you're a good candidate.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Runyon from Runyon Dental Group. Are you missing teeth or do you have uncomfortable dentures? Dental implants can not only transform your smile, they can restore your confidence and allow you to eat those foods you love that you've been missing. When I was in my early 30s, I was in a similar situation needing complex dental work and dental implants. I understand all the emotions that you're feeling because I've been the patient and I know that we can help you. Schedule a free consultation today at RunyonDentalGroup.com. That's RunyonDentalGroup.com.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Hi, this is Ron from the Good Feet store. Are you standing on painful feet all day? Don't lose hope. We want to help you live without pain. Discover your options and visit goodfeet.com. Or stop in today at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway in Grove City.
Your bathroom's got to go, the vanity's decayed, and toilet's really old. The bathtub's giving way. If Baths R Us a ring, call morning, noon, or night. You do not have to wait to get your bathroom right.
Call Baths R Us for your free estimate and enter to win our Christmas in July $12,500 bathroom remodel with an additional savings of up to $3,000 plus low to no monthly payments. 380-225-2284. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
T-Bone's an expert at making mornings better. He brought back the bagel sandwiches at McDonald's. He feeds birds out of his mouth. And he hosts a radio show guaranteed to make you smile. Yay, T-Bone. Yes. T-Bone and Tyvis.
Weekday mornings at 6.
The Fan.
A SoFi personal loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible, overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
Oh my God, is this your house?
This is the humble abode.
Oh my God, it's so humble.
FX presents Adults.
You don't know your social security number?
No, I do. It's just my mom, knows the whole thing.
A new comedy about 20-somethings achieving zero anythings.
What is the worst that happens?
I go broke. I can't pay my loans. I start an OnlyFans, but only you guys subscribe.
I can't do OnlyFans.
Yeah, you wouldn't make it on there, so sorry.
FX's Adults, Wednesdays on FX. All episodes streaming on Hulu.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
I do think the first ingredient you need to have in a rivalry is annual. And annual, it's played annually. It has to be played every single year. You have to have it constantly in the minds of both combatants. And there has to be stakes every single year. And there has to be a history of one team taking from another team. Rivalry in sport, I should say. And for Ohio State and Michigan, that's generally been the case. But in the last couple of years, and as we go further into the college football playoff, as it continues to expand, it does feel like it's lesser because the season's not over for the loser. And sometimes the winner just also, in Michigan's case in 2024, they went to a bowl game. And I think they beat Alabama, but they get a trophy for that probably doesn't appear anywhere but in however many trophies they have in Schembechler Hall, probably in the basement. I mean, I can't imagine outside of a day or two those trophies that Ohio State won en route to a college football playoff national championship take up prime real estate because, Rose Bowl's great, Cotton Bowl's great, but the playoff does diminish a lot of these things. And this was great friend of the program, Tyvis Powell, and he was talking to The Athletic about the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry. Quote, the only way it could get diminished is if they don't play anymore. If one team left the Big Ten, that's the only way this wouldn't be the best rivalry in sports. As long as they continue to play the game, there's nothing that will be better, end quote. And I agree with him. It's the same thing. It's Ohio. It's Oklahoma and Oklahoma State's bedlam, to your points. The Civil War, Oregon and Oregon State. Those will become diminished because they're not played anymore. As long as you still have the game. Now, there'll probably be talk about moving it from the last game of the season. Is that something that you do? Do you make it an earlier game? Or do you keep it right where it is because it's always forever been the last game of the regular season for both teams?
So, to me, you're right. It has to be played every year. And to an extent, Tyvis is right. As long as they play this every year, it's still going to matter. It's going to matter to the fans.
And
it's
the players,
going to matter to us. It's going to matter to the people participating in it. But it's not, and we'll talk about this a little more here in a second, but it's not the end-all, be-all anymore. It used to be the end-all, be-all for Ohio State. Because if you didn't beat Michigan, you weren't going to the Rose Bowl, you weren't winning the Big Ten, you weren't winning a national championship. But quite frankly, that's not the case anymore. And there's going to be people out there, and listen, Ryan Day has to get this figured out. He's got to get over this hump. He beat Michigan the first time. He's lost 4 in a row to them. He's got to get over this hump because there's always going to be people in this fan base that are saying, that's not good enough. You have to beat them, especially with the run of success Ohio State had against that team up north for 2 decades. 2 decades, they dominated that rivalry. And I remember being on the other side of it in the 90s. And that's what made those 2 decades so sweet. And listen, these last 4 games, the next time Ohio State beats them, for Ohio State fans, it's going to make that next win that much sweeter. But as we saw this year, losing to Michigan is not the end of the world. And if people would trade a Michigan win for the national championship, that's crazy. It's not the world we live in anymore. Right. I know that used to be the world we live in, but it's not what we currently live in.
There are people out there, I think, that would tell you right now they'd trade a national championship for a Michigan win. Oh, we don't win the national championship? That's fine. Ohio State still beat Michigan. I think there are people out there that would tell you that would be perfectly fine with them. And that's okay to feel that way. Like, and I understand the consternation after the 4th straight loss to the team up north. I understand where people were in their anger, in their confusion, and their frustration. And it's insane to think that there's pressure on Ryan Day after winning a national championship that he has to beat Michigan this fall. But he has to beat Michigan this fall.
And I think it's one of the things I've always loved, the separation between college athletics and pro athletics. Because if the Browns lose to the Steelers, it sucks as a Browns fan. You hate it.
Do it all the time.
You're right. You get used to it. You hate that. But if you lose to them twice in the regular season and then you beat them in the playoffs, those 2 games in the regular season don't matter. And I've always loved that delineation because you had that in pro sports, but in college sports it was different. And you had to win it. You couldn't reach your goals if you didn't. And as college sports have become more pro sports, we don't have that anymore. So all of these college rivalries are going to change, and a little bit of the shine is maybe not the shine. I think the shine will still be there, but the rivalry itself in terms of the end game diminishes a little bit. And it doesn't matter if you play Ohio State, Michigan every year, the last game of the year. In the grand scheme of things, unfortunately, to get to your ultimate goal of winning a national championship, it does diminish.
It's the shine's coming off of all the regular season games. Like Ohio State and Texas, in years past where it's felt like you have to win that game week 1, losers still going to be just fine. Even for Clemson last year, they got blown out by Georgia in their first game of the season. Dabo Swinney after the game said, Georgia's going to do that to a lot of people. Turns out Georgia did that to some. Not necessarily a lot, but Clemson was still fine for the college football playoff. But for Ohio State and for Ryan Day, who was 1-4 against that team up north, it's going to be something that he's going to be feeling up until November 29th. And Josh Pate, who does a college football show nationally for CBS Sports, had a very interesting question and a very interesting response to the question.
We got a question about Ryan Day that at first I thought was crazy. In fact, there's the word there. Tommy from Akron hit me up. He said, am I crazy to think that there's still a lot of pressure on Ryan Day because of the Michigan losing streak? No, you're not crazy at all. This is where college football is over here and any other sport is over there as a concept. If you win a championship, a national championship in any other sport, the word pressure is not even in the galaxy of conversation about you the following year. Repeat, maybe, complacency, reload or rebuild. No one's talking pressure. And we're not talking job security pressure with Ryan Day or anything like that. But I believe rivalry games, I believe rivalries are the most important part of college football. I believe beating Michigan is the most important role that you have as the head coach at Ohio State. Above winning the conference, above winning national titles, this is my personal worldview in college athletics. My personal college football worldview is that if you're the head coach at Ohio State, your job's to beat Michigan, and then the Big Ten can be won, and then the national title can be won in that order, but beating Michigan's number one.
He's 100% right, and that's what makes college football the best.
And that's how it used to be, though, right? At Ohio State, like I think he's wrong in that, though, that job number one at Ohio State is no longer to beat Michigan. It used to be. But job number one at Ohio State is to win a national championship. And you could not do that before, as we talked, without beating Michigan. You can now. So he's right that there's no pressure on Ryan Day and the fact that if he loses a fifth this year, God forbid this happens, but if we're having that show at the end of November that he lost a fifth straight, he's not losing his job. But there is pressure within the fan base, within the community, and it's going to fire back up again. And it'll be that way unless they can go on and win a national championship again after a loss. But if they don't do that, it's going to happen all the way until that game at the end of the following season. There's going to be a ton of pressure from the fans, from the fan base, from the city of Columbus, the state of Ohio. But he's not losing his job after winning the national championship.
Very well said. We'll do the real truth next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Men, summertime is here, and that means vacations, summer barbecues, outdoor parties, camping, beaches, and so much more. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're like many men, you may not be feeling like yourself this summer. Perhaps your energy is low and you aren't sleeping well. Maybe your workouts aren't as good as they used to be, and if what I'm describing is you, it's very likely you're suffering with low testosterone. But low T doesn't have to affect you anymore. Just call Tri-State Men's Health, get treated, and see how it changes your life. If you're like most men, you'll feel so much better. Deeper sleep, improved vitality and clarity, greater strength and energy, and an enhanced sex drive as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T-test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654. That's 800-900-9654. Or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use law enforcement siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention, like telling you if you get a speeding ticket, it doesn't end there. You have to pay expensive fines. You can't go to your friend's wedding because that also costs money. And your insurance rates could increase. See? We didn't have to use law enforcement sirens after all. Getting a speeding ticket has consequences. Sooner or later, speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
Hey friends, Beamer here. Looking back at my Awaken 180 goals, and very deep on the list was to beat my guy Austin Ward at golf. Well, played in the Marysville Marathon with him on Saturday, and let's just say, mission accomplished. The biggest part, though, I wasn't lugging around those extra 75 pounds in that brutal heat while playing 36 holes. That was the real difference. I felt my stamina was way better. I'm not saying you're going to be a scratch golfer after losing the weight, but if your Awaken 180 results are like mine, you'll be able to crush Austin too. Online at Awaken180weightloss.com.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.44%, APR 6.47% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. Did you know their co-founders are Ohio natives? Yeah. Window Nation has been replacing windows in the Columbus region for over 15 years. Not only does Window Nation know what windows work best for Ohio homeowners like you, they're also local to the area. And right now, you can take advantage of Window Nation's biggest sale of the year. Get 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 whole years. You heard that right. With Window Nation, you won't pay any interest until 2030. Plus, they'll install your new windows in 1 day or less, so you can get back to your daily routine right away. Personally, I wouldn't procrastinate. You don't want to wait on this deal. It's a trustworthy company like Window Nation, getting your windows in 1 day or less. 50% off all window styles now, plus 0 interest until 2030 with Window Nation. Call them up, 866-90NATION, or visit windownation.com to get your free quote on replacement windows. 866-90NATION or windownation.com. And tell them T-Bone sent you.
Level up your summer projects with 4th of July savings on top brand cordless power tools from the Home Depot. Whether you're working on a fence, a planter box, or a new workbench, Get the power and runtime you need with the Ryobi One Plus 18-volt 2 toolkit from the Home Depot for only $99, was $139. Get 4th of July savings on the cordless power you need to make summer projects easier than ever. Right now at the Home Depot.
Evan Cohen here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sportsbook for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Guardians ended one streak Monday. Look to start another on Tuesday. Cleveland won at Houston last night, beating the Astros 7-5. Jose Ramirez drove in 3 with a home run in the 5th. Cleveland hadn't won a game since June 25th, a streak that had reached 10 games. Guardians and Astros are back at it tonight at 8:10. Last night in Cincinnati, the Marlins beat the Reds 5-1. The third straight loss for Cincinnati. They're one game above 500. Redlegs will host the Marlins tonight at 7:10. Nick Martinez will start for Cincinnati. You can hear Reds baseball on the Fan tonight following the Buckeye show. In the minors, the Clippers are back at Huntington Park tonight hosting the Louisville Bats. First pitch in Dime a Dog Night is 7:05. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Swimming in debt with rates as low as 8.99% APR. Save your summer with a debt consolidation loan. Visit bmifcu.org/consolidate. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
We're going to get Uncle Dom on at 10:30. Handful of questions for Dommy. You'll hear from Urban Meyer coming up here in about 20 minutes. A school approached him about a job he said he'd rather walk barefoot on Legos for, or rather than take said job. I think Dom might know who that team might be. We'll ask him. I have a couple thoughts on who that team might be.
I mean, if anybody would know.
Urban Meyer created the general manager position in football with Mark Pantoni, who Bo in this show has deemed the ambassador of cool.
And I think that's what's so funny about that whole thing is, as we talked about yesterday, Urban Meyer never wanted to do that stuff. That's why he hired Mark Pantoni and had Pantoni doing that. I think out of respect for whoever reached out to him and asked him, he was like, all right, I'll take the meeting. I'll listen and we can chat about this. And then as soon as it's like, yeah, you got to do this, he's like, nah, rusty nail.
Our 20 most interesting college football programs heads to Folsom. The Colorado Buffaloes in year 3 under Coach Prime. Deion Sanders is with the Buffaloes in Frisco, Texas today, the start of Big 12 Media Days. Jake Schwanitz from DNVR Buffs is going to join us at 11:30. He's also at the Star in Dallas. We'll get his thoughts on, well, we'll get a Coach Prime health update. And then the Buffaloes have 2 quarterbacks that are with them at Big 12 Media Days. They've also got their kicker, Alejandro Mata. So 2 quarterbacks, a kicker, an offensive lineman, and a defensive back are with Coach Prime. And so
I like that, a little kicker love.
It's an interesting combination for a team that finished first or tied for first in the Big 12. I don't know if they've got just as good of a shot as anybody in that conference, but it's as wide open as any conference is in the Power 4.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. Like at the top of the Big 10, you've got Ohio State, you've got Penn State, correct. In the ACC, where you've got Clemson there that you think is probably going to win that conference this year. In the SEC, you've got Texas, Georgia, Alabama, the usual suspects. In the Big 12, reach into a hat and draw a name.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Before we get to all of that, we'll do the real truth.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Cellar. Over 76 years of experience and guaranteed lowest prices on Sawmill Road or diamondcellar.com.
All right, the first question we'll do is one that I didn't write. Or the first real truth we'll do is one I didn't come up with. I thought I had made it perfectly clear yesterday. We would be doing no more college basketball in this program unless it related to Ohio State men's hoops. Because as I just said, Jacob Reimer, Big 12 Media Days, kickoff Media Days season. We did football rivalries in the last hour. We'll hear from Urban Meyer on a general managerial job he told to kick rocks later in the program. Nowhere did we have college basketball. However, out of that tongue-in-cheek, I do say that this is a pretty important one. The Division I Men's Basketball Committee will vote to expand the NCAA tournament this week. Is that the real truth?
So this better be involving Ohio State, right? And I think it is the real truth, unfortunately. As much as I don't think they should add to the NCAA tournament, I think they should actually subtract from it and take it down a few teams. But I do think this is the real truth because, Reese, as we talk all the time, we think more is better because more means more money. And if you get more teams, that's more television games, that's more TV rights deals, that's more revenue at the sites, the stadiums, all of that. So I do think it's the real truth. Unfortunately, as much as I dislike it, you know I'm never an expansion guy. I think it makes things less special. I don't ever think there's enough teams that are deserving of that. But it is the real truth, and we are going to have probably a 76-team field, it sounds like, in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it would certainly help a lot of teams like last year, Ohio State, trying to get into the Big Ten or get into the NCAA tournament. But my heart wants it to not be the truth. I feel like it will be, but we'll see. Hopefully some of the members of the committee voting have a little heart and see all the pushback that it's getting from fans and media and not break an event that didn't really need broken.
Yeah, they don't care, Jacob. They don't care about us. They've proven that because you know what? You know what they know about us? They know that we're going to watch.
Yeah.
And when we watch, that puts eyeballs on them. That means they get more TV shows and more money. So they do not care about what we think, Jacob Reimer. They care about the pocketbooks.
Yeah, the heart follows the money. Are they meeting this week to do such a thing?
Yes, it's supposed to be later this week.
Goodness. That's what you need, another meeting where you get those Hilton points, those American Airlines miles, and you kick the can down the road on more actual impactful college athletic items to expand tournaments.
Listen, those Marriotts are nice, Reese.
I don't doubt that.
It's comfortable to stay in. It's a night get away from the family. Don't have to deal with responsibilities of the home life. I mean, it's good living.
To that point about the Marriotts and the continental breakfasts, making a waffle is one of the more satisfying things you can do with the waffle iron flipper. Is that the real truth?
It's pretty good. I don't know about more satisfying. I think there's some other things I could find.
I guess in terms of making your own breakfast.
Isn't it kind of interesting, though, that, and obviously you can buy those for your house.
Yeah.
I feel like I never eat waffles.
Tough to clean.
I never eat waffles unless I'm at a hotel where I can do that. They got the batter in the cup. I just pour it in. I hit the thing. I flip it when the light comes on. And when the light comes on, you take it out.
I think for me, it's just they take longer to make. And that's why, like, I'm with you, Baker. I don't eat them a ton unless I am staying at a hotel. Like, just make a quick eggs and I'll be good.
Yeah, I know it's something you don't do at home. Like, nobody, I don't think, makes waffles at home unless they have one of those waffle irons. And they're kind of tough to clean. And they end up just, like, sitting in your pantry or wherever you have your appliances more often than you're actually using them. But when you go to a hotel and you see the continental breakfast and you see the waffle iron, I think 9 times out of 10, you're like, well, I just want to make one. Like, you don't even care about, I know there is a show on this station that has real feelings about waffles and pancakes. I don't. I think they're both fine. But like to make one on that little flippy griddle, I should say.
And you can dress it up however you want. You can put any kind of fruit or like peanut butter or like jelly or something like that on it.
I'm all about peanut butter on a waffle.
Yeah, peanut butter and chocolate chips.
That's so good.
Really fat boy it up. So that's what the Division I Men's Basketball Committee has to look forward to later on this week. One of these schools, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Illinois, will miss the 2025 college football playoff. Is that the real truth?
So I think it is the real truth, and I'm trying to take my hatred for them out of it. I think it's Michigan. I just don't see this year, unless Bryce Underwood as a freshman is just the best player in college football this year. I don't see a world where Michigan gets in the college football playoff this year. I think Ohio State has a great shot, and I think it would be a shock to everyone around here if they didn't. I think Penn State, although I don't believe they're going to win a national championship, I do think this Penn State team, despite James Franklin, is really good, and I cannot see them having more than 2 losses this year. And as long as they're at the 2-loss mark, they're going to make it in. And listen, I think everybody knows. I think Illinois, it's easy to say they're this year's Indiana, but Illinois was pretty good last year. I believe Illinois, with their schedule, there's no guaranteed losses, right? But if you look at Illinois' schedule this year, the only game you're like, yeah, I think they're going to lose is Ohio State. And I
they
think
host the Buckeyes in that contest.
So Ohio State has to go to Champaign. You don't know what the weather's going to be like and all of that. So I personally don't see Illinois having more than 1 loss this year. I still think a 2-loss Illinois would probably get into the college football playoff as well. So I think it's Michigan that's not. I don't think Michigan gets in. This is the real truth.
I think it's the real truth as well. And just looking at some of these schedules, like Illinois, they do kind of have
it's cake.
Yeah, but it will get interesting. I think you got to circle that November 22nd game up at Camp Randall at Wisconsin. That, depending on what time that game is, too, right before the end of the last week of the season, there could be a lot on it. But, I mean, Michigan, they could also be right out of it, right out of the gate. They go to Oklahoma, don't really know what you're getting from Oklahoma, but there's a lot of hype around them. And then without Sharon Moore, you have to go to Nebraska, who will have a little bit more of experience, Dylan Raiola. So I think definitely one of those two for sure, but I think it's true that one of the 4 will miss.
Who tried to hire Urban Meyer? You'll hear from him next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
At United Dairy Farmers, peach is our most popular ice cream. Although it's only here for a short time, we sell more of it than any other flavor. And once you taste it, you'll know why it wins the popularity contest. We make it from scratch by mixing in the juice from our hand-selected peaches and big chunks of fruit. That's what gives it that unique peachier flavor. And that might also explain why peach season at UDF doesn't last long. UDF Peach Ice Cream, made for you.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
It's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
Wilson, I got the nicest Google review today. Dewey from Gahanna said, "We cannot believe we are able to get the Pella look and quality at the cost we did."
I got a review too. Listen to this. These windows were great. Oh boy, for about a year. Looks like I'll need to renew, in quotes for some reason, my windows way too soon. Repeat customer?
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Summer's heating up, and so are the deals at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Whether you're cruising to the lake or hauling your weekend gear, Germain, well, they've got the truck to help you get it done. Right now, get 2.99 APR for up to 72 months on the rugged 2024 Tacoma, or step up to the powerful 2025 Tundra, also 2.99 for 72 months. These summer savings, they won't last forever. So visit Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
Cool cars, cool people, good time. It's the biggest and best hot rodding event of the year. The Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals presented by PPG. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Over 6,000 classics from across the USA. Shop the swap meet at Huge Fender Midway. See which rides take home the crown of the 2025 Classic Instrument Street Rods and PPG Street Machine of the Year. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
1877 Cars for Kids.
today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
We at The Fan have created a show where you can be a homer, a hater, or whatever you want to be. Your family may not listen to you, but we will. Sundays at 11, it's The Fan Call-In Show presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. You're welcome.
The outdoor drama Tecumseh is back this summer. The drama, the history, and the spectacle make Tecumseh one of Ohio's most beloved traditions. Tecumseh has provided thrilling live entertainment for 50 years, and the outdoor theater at Sugarloaf Mountain will provide a safe and memorable experience for your entire family. Get tickets now at tecumsehdrama.com. This message is made possible in part by the Ohio Arts Council. Tecumseh, experience the drama.
Got a teen athlete? Then you know putting in the hours is all part of the game. But did you know the same goes for learning how to drive? Because just like playing a sport, learning to drive takes practice. The only difference is the stakes are even higher. 50 hours of practice time driving with you? Worth every minute. Gear up at teachyourteentodrive.ohio.gov.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A mainly dry day today for us with more sunshine and afternoon highs getting into the upper 80s. For tonight, lows overnight down into the 60s. We'll still see that humidity with us going into Wednesday with partly to mostly cloudy skies, and we could see some isolated showers and storms in the afternoon with highs again in the upper 80s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
Bobby Carpenter demands that you watch Morning Juice on YouTube. If you don't, Tito will move into your house.
Live at 6 a.m. on YouTube and streaming on the Fan app.
The perfect show for quarter zips and khaki shorts. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
So as we continue with our 20 most interesting programs, we'll have the Colorado Buffaloes today. We'll start with that at 11 o'clock. Jake Schwanitz from DNVR Buffs is going to join us at 11:30. He's at Big 12 Media Days, which began this morning in Dallas. Adam Rittenberg, who covers the Big Ten, and I guess is just their college football reporter for ESPN, is also at Jerry's World. And Joey McGuire, Texas Tech's head coach. Yes, if we learned that yesterday, you can learn it today that Joey McGuire is the head coach of the Texas Tech Raiders.
Who knew?
Yesterday when we had Shehan Jayaraja on from CBS Sports, he said that what McGuire was hammering to everybody he could throughout the offseason was that the Raiders have to return to Dallas for the Big 12 championship game. And this from Adam Rittenberg, Texas Tech coach Joey McGuire to ESPN. We need to be in AT&T Stadium in December because that's the last box that people still use to recruit against us. And I'm not a fan of expansion. I'm not a fan of constant more. I do think with the expanded 12-teamer and then the 16-teamer, it will provide instances for teams like Texas Tech to have maybe a hot year or two. Like you were just saying in the last segment about this year's Indiana. Well, could Illinois be this year's Indiana? And then next year, are we talking about who's this year's Illinois? And I do think having more opportunity for teams like that makes the sport a little bit more interesting than just the four. Now, it would fly in the face of the logic that I have that there's only 4 or 5 teams in a given year that can win a national championship. But I do like seeing more teams with shots, with opportunities to play in the postseason, play meaningful postseason games, I should say.
And I get what you're saying, and you talk about Indiana and what a great thing that was for them, and they're going to have that, hey, we were in the college football playoff. Nobody thought Indiana was winning the national championship last year. So back to your point, there's still only a handful of teams, if that many, that were like, hey, are going to win the national championship. Like last year, you started the year, you thought Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, probably Alabama. Like those are the teams that can win a national championship. Then you get to the playoff and or throw Oregon in that mix too. Sorry. Then you get to the playoff and you're like, I'm pretty sure Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, maybe Notre Dame at that point are the only teams that can win this thing. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, and it's nice. It's a feel-good story. And if Texas Tech were to get there this year, that would be a feel-good story, but I don't think anybody thinks Texas Tech's going to win it all.
No, I just think it would be more. I just think it's fun, And again, I would love it to go back to 4. I'd even be thrilled if they just did the BCS again, and you had 2 teams that a computer spit out and said these are the 2 best in the country. But that's not where we are, and that's not even close to where we're going. So with what's offered to us now and what will be offered to us in the future, you try to make the rosiest of the situation. We'd also heard, and this has just been some reporting and looking into Texas Tech, because I don't think any of us had really given the Red Raiders much of a thought since Michael Crabtree, maybe since Patrick Mahomes. But their general manager, James Blanchard, Notre Dame tried to poach him back in January. Like, I remember going in and asking Bodie Wells, who produces Morning Juice, when was the last time you thought of Texas Tech? He's like, well, I know Notre Dame tried to get their general manager back in January. And teams over the past couple of years have really tried to make the GM role a focal point of the recruiting process. This person, general manager of the team, looks at roster needs, talks to coaches, figures out who they need in the transfer portal, who they need in the high school ranks, and goes and talks to, now it's their agents. Now it's their proxies. I don't know how much interaction the general manager of a college football team like Andrew Luck is going and talking to prospects. That feels more like with the general manager of the Stanford Cardinal. They bring him in and go, here's Andrew Luck. That's when he meets the recruit. Any other time, it's talking with the agent, or as Urban Meyer liked to say, the third uncle. Urban Meyer does a podcast, Triple Option, with Rob Stone and Mark Ingram. And he had this to say about a team, an unnamed college football team, with an opportunity for him.
I don't know if I even told Rob and Mark this, but I had a school come see me this year and asked if I wanted to be the GM, and a couple other phone calls. And you start to think, okay, they actually came to see me. And so I said, yeah, we'll meet and I'll sit down with you guys. And I said, okay, what is the job description? They said, well, basically you handle all the, you meet with all the agents of the 17, 18-year-olds. And I thought, I'd rather step on a rusty nail and pull it out I mean, what in the, but if that's what you got to do, Jim, God bless you, brother.
Now, I think they had Jim Nagy on that edition of the podcast. He's Oklahoma's general manager.
That's it. Yeah, they were talking to him right then when when Urban dropped that on the guys.
And I do wonder, who could that team have been? Now, Bone thinks that maybe it was Bowling Green.
I think that's
I do too.
That was a great guess, one that I didn't think of originally, but it was a great guess and very possible.
I had thought, because of what Notre Dame had been trying to do to poach Texas Tech's general manager, maybe the Irish gave Urban a call. Because isn't that what he's maintained but forever? After the Florida job, there were only 2 he was taking, Ohio State and Notre Dame. Now, maybe it could have been Florida. I doubt it would have been Ohio State, because he did bring in Mark Pantoni, the ambassador of cool, when he took the job in Columbus. And Mark Pantoni was really the first general manager of college football. And to your astute point earlier in the program, because Urban didn't want to deal with any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've, done since forever, that's such an important part of the recruiting process, is you've not only got to meet with the recruit and his parents, but there's been proxies forever that, coaches, weight coaches, any of these different entities that have surrounded the biggest recruits since forever. And so I'm interested. We'll get Dom on here in a couple minutes to see if he knows who might have offered Urban that job.
I think the first 2 teams that came to my mind, Reese, and you mentioned both of them, were Notre Dame and Florida. Urban has talked in the past about his affinity for Notre Dame, and they were a team that was obviously looking for someone. It bring notoriety to the program. Yep. Obviously, the Ohio State ties with Marcus Freeman being there now. Obviously, he did not play for Urban Meyer, but he would have a relationship with Urban Meyer. So that was the first one that came to mind. And then Florida, I thought, there was a time when Urban leaving there and that relationship wasn't great, but it has seemed to thawed a little bit over the past couple of years. And what better way to have a reunion with him and show that everything was okay than having him in there. Bowling Green, with the hiring of Eddie George and obviously Urban having his success there at his first job as a head coach, that does make a lot of sense. And when I heard Bone say that, I kind of thought, you know what, maybe it was Bowling Green. Maybe that's the one.
But obviously, Urban, Nick Saban, there's several others that have been out of the college football game for long enough that see what's going on that want zero to do with it. I thought I would rather step on a rusty nail and pull it out myself line was pretty good. I think I've used a couple of times now the walking barefoot on Legos. These guys would rather just do that than have to deal with the agents of players. Because there was that Felix Ojo guy. There's a 5-star offensive tackle, Felix Ojo, that committed to Texas Tech. And as people were trying to find reports of the NIL offer given to him, his agent came out and said 3 years, $5.1 million. That's not something that we've ever seen before, where an agent representing a player comes out and said, yeah, that's how much he's making. But I thought then, and I still think now, that if you're a player if you're a team rather, trying to play at that level where you've got to spend $30, $35, $40 million on your roster, a lot of it retention, but a lot of it in the transfer portal, I think you should be out front about some of the deals and some of the dollar amounts you're giving to players. Now, Ohio State, I think, has done a great job of not providing that much money to offensive linemen, especially at positions when they're still in high school and they haven't had any time with a program to develop. I think that's why with Ethan Onyanwa, with the tackle from Minnesota, Ohio State's done a really good job of just going into the portal and getting seasoned guys at that position. It'll be a big swing, what Texas Tech did, going and getting 5-star guys in the class of 2026, because you're probably not going to see them on the field this year. So I think for the Buckeyes, when Ryan Day had that comment, it was like $13, $14 million that he would, and this was a couple of years ago, I thought, good. Have that dollar figure out there to show everybody that you're a serious operation. Show everybody that you're a serious program. Because that's just what it takes right now in college football. You can't do without it. You cannot constantly be in the conversation without having the war chest that matches what other schools are going to be doing. Because that's why you're seeing all of this new money that they've got to find at different locations. That's why every single month Ohio Stadium's got a big event. That's why you're going to get jersey patches coming to college football. All of that is money that needs to be found because the beast will never be, satiated. You're always going to have to keep throwing coal into that fire. We'll get Dom Taberry coming up in 2 minutes. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
At Meyer, we're working hard to make summertime shopping a good deal better with great deals like $1.99 a pound bulk large sweet cherries, $2.99 a pound fresh from Meyer boneless skinless chicken thigh family packs. Buy 2, get 1 free 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, 7-Up or Dr. Pepper products, plus deposit where applicable. And 3 for $6 on Meyer shredded chunk or sliced cheese. Summer is always a good deal fresher at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Hey, Tinsley, why don't we use EasyCater to order food for staff lunches?
Because my 46-page acronym system is so easy. I just have to salad, stay alert to late arriving deliveries, pie, put in expenses, and Google Pie. Go out and get everyone's preferences and allergy information.
That's supposed to be simple?
No, simple is Steve and Irma and Margie prefer lasagna and empanadas.
OMG.
No need to make work life more complicated. Just use EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Taberry.
All right, so what are you coming here calling us babies for?
Because you guys are babies. I mean, have you even reached puberty yet, Reeser?
No.
How old are you, Reeser?
I'll be 35 tomorrow.
I've had arguments.
Tomorrow.
I'm going to give you an old line. I've had arguments with my wife longer than you've been alive.
I told you Reese has shaved twice already. He's still got a 5 o'clock shadow.
Well, look,
speaking of shaving, I saw some interesting.
Not growing a beard.
I saw some interesting.
Well, you
stuff
were never allowed to on the air, were you?
No, but I mean, it was like we did. There was this thing. I do the trending now at 4 o'clock. And I showed the world championships for beard and mustaches they had in Pittsburgh over the weekend. They had 38 countries represented and all these people with beards. And so there's this app called Beard Board or whatever, and you can put a beard. And I put a beard on myself several, and people said, no, absolutely not. Now, you look good.
Well, I appreciate
with
that.
a beard. Yeah, it looks good on you.
As he rolls his eyes. Have you ever had a beard in your life?
When I started here at Channel 10, I had a mustache. And Gene D'Angelo, who was the president, called me up to the office and said, shave that thing. You know what I did? I shaved that thing.
You shaved it that day.
Amen.
I felt like you were playing around with Snapchat filters or something.
That is
and you're
cool
like, you're not. I mean, Snapchat's a young kid's game, so I
am the coolest grandpa here. I'm on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and what's the one that they say he's going to go away? TikTok. Yeah,
goes away, comes back.
I've got them all.
So I'm looking here. The World Beard and Mustache Championships is a biennial competition overseen by the World Beard and Mustache Association.
Yeah, did you know there was such a thing?
No, I had no idea.
There's sports for everything.
There is.
Now, I did hear you guys, and like I said, you guys are babies.
Correct.
You're more of a baby than Bake, but let me just tell you something. I grew up in an era where I was in the middle of the 10-year war, where if you didn't beat Michigan, you didn't go to the Rose Bowl. And that was it. That's what you were playing for. Let me tell you something. There's a learning curve, and I'm an old guy. No one loves the rivalry more than I did. I knew Bo Schembechler. I knew Woody Hayes. It was great. Those days are gone, and they're not coming back. And for us older guys, it's harder. But for you younger guys, there's going to be a learning curve. But the fact that Ohio State lost to them last year and went on and won the national title, it's always going to be a big deal, Ohio State and Michigan. But the bigger deal is winning the national title. And there's nothing we as fans can do about it. The ship has sailed. And to me, let's not talk about the sanctity of a rivalry. That's the end all when you could play them 3 times. And that could have easily happened in the past with this new system, and it is going to happen if they can. First of all, the Big Ten title game needs to go away. In the world of you're going to have 16 teams in playoffs, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you even risk getting someone hurt in a game that doesn't matter?
But not only do they want to keep the Big Ten title game, they want to have games for 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5.
I mean, it's got to go away. It's got to. You know what? And I understand because it's all about the money train now. You got to pay these guys. But at the end of the day, the ultimate goal of every program is to win the national title. And while it sucked that Ohio State lost to Michigan last year, you know what? The fact that they ran the table in the greatest run I've ever seen to win a national title. And I know this is sacrilege for a bunch of you guys out driving and whatever, but the ship has sailed. We can't fix it. We can't go back in time. It is what it is.
And it's just as you mentioned, Dom, like it's never been that way before. So that's why it's hard for a lot of Buckeye fans, I think, to be like, oh, man, we lost to Michigan. This season wasn't good enough, even though we won the national championship. So it's hard. You mentioned it's a learning curve.
Are there people like that? Yeah, I think there's a few.
There's a lot of people like that.
I mean, I think a lot of them got, a lot of them came back and said, it really did. But, would you trade beating Michigan to be the national champions? What are we talking about?
You can't. It's just like if and And again, it's different because it was never that way in college football, but you would never hear someone in the NFL, like the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year, say they lost to the Cowboys twice in the regular season. They're not going to be like, this season, man, we won it all, but we lost to the Cowboys, so I don't. But it's just a different way of thinking we've always had.
Bake, that's the greatest. You just gave the greatest example, and this is what I use. First of all, this is the professionalism of college football. We can agree on that, right? And what you think about, how bad do the Browns hate the Steelers? They play 2 times every year. You know, if they lose to Pittsburgh and they win the Super Bowl, is anyone going to remember those 2 games? I mean, there's only been one undefeated football team win a Super Bowl, the Miami Dolphins. No one other than that has been unblemished. And, yes, it stinks losing to that team up north. I don't like them. Urban Meyer doesn't like them. I guarantee you Ryan Day hates them. But, you know, the world of college football's changed, and while that's always going to be a big game, there are bigger things. And the biggest fish is winning a national title, which Ohio State had the blueprint to do last year.
You keep in touch with Urban a lot. Who do you think it was that asked him to be their general manager?
I don't know. Who knows? He's not going to do any of that.
He even said on his podcast last week he'd rather step on a rusty nail and pull it out himself.
There's no way. This guy is so hands-on. I talked to him last week, and I don't know who would have asked him to be the GM or whatever. I mean, who knows? He grew up in that. He would have a hard time dealing with this era.
The agents?
Well, just the fact that the de-infamous, to him, everything was the Ohio State-Michigan game. But, you've got to adjust and look at things differently in today's world. And that's just the way it is. I mean, I heard Dane Sanzenbacher one day say, you know what, let's make the rivalry worth something if the loser doesn't get to go into the college football playoff. How about if that was, you put that on the rivalry?
I understand why you'd feel that way.
I mean, if you did that, then, yeah, it'd be worth something again. It is always going to be worth something. But in the world where you're going to get 4 Big Ten teams into the college football playoff every year,
minimum.
We think that's going to be it, 4 to 5. And Ohio State, if they're not, that's going to be the bigger issue if you're not in there for that pay train.
You said you talked with Urban last week.
Couple weeks ago.
What was the big thing you guys talked about, and can we go back and hear it anywhere?
Yeah, it's all over. It's on 10 TV Plus. I think you guys have it. But, yeah, you can listen to it. Basically, he's got some reservations about where we're heading. He talked about, the one thing he said that was really interesting, how many guys went into the transfer portal and did not do better than what they had it before.
Yeah.
And he said that's a big concern for him. Obviously it's a big concern when you think about all the money that's going to be involved now. And, this clearinghouse, how's that going to work? What is the market value of someone? I think that, what was it? If you make over 600 or whatever, the clearinghouse has to, okay.
Prove it.
You have to submit it to the
So let me
clearinghouse.
ask you a question. There's a guy in Columbus called Jeremiah Smith. What is his market value? I mean, what was Quinn Ewer's market value when he left Texas because he couldn't make NIL money in high school there, which is going to be a dilemma for Ohio here eventually. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's coming this way too. But what was the market value of Quinn Ewers? Well, he came here, and I think he made, a couple million taking 3 snaps while he was at Ohio State.
You remember a while back when people were talking about Nick Saban possibly being a commissioner of college football and be a part of the solution here. Do you get the sense, you talk about Urban having those reservations, do you get the sense that that's something he would be interested in, maybe leading a commission or at least being a part of a group that helps shape the future of college football?
I don't know if he would ever do that. He might, but might think he enjoys. Look, it's like Coach Coop says. Ever since he left Ohio State, he's undefeated as a coach. Doing the coaches shows. Urban, Lee Corso's another great example. You get paid a lot of money to give your thoughts. And Urban's a 3-time national championship coach. You look at Nick Saban, you got to understand the hours that these guys put in as head coaches. They're burned out. I mean, you look at Ryan Day, the hours he puts in, and now, can you imagine the time that he has to put in with the NIL and dealing with all that? I mean, Urban didn't really have to do that. I don't know that Urban could do that and deal with the agents and all that stuff that's coming in. I think there's a reason why you're seeing guys at the college level that have the opportunity to go to the NFL where they're going. The NFL's not doing anything right now, fellas. Mm-hmm. You get your time off. College football, you used to get your summers off because the kids would get jobs and they would work. These kids are here now 365 days a year. It's a full year process. The coaches are here. And now with the NIL and everything, I mean, they've got to figure this thing out because to me it's not sustainable, but it's where we're at and it's what we got. Do I wish we could go back to the old days? Yeah, I loved the 10-year war. It was great. I would love to hear what Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler think about what the game has become.
Wouldn't be suitable for air.
We couldn't run it. But this is where we're at. This is the world we live in. And as I said a long time ago, the genie is out of the bottle, and that dude ain't going back. They crushed the bottle. It's gone.
You going to Vegas in 2 weeks?
No.
Why not?
Well, you going to pay for me to go? Are you going?
No.
Are you going?
No, they wouldn't send me. They'd send you.
Yeah. No.
No?
We're not going.
All right. Not for Big Ten Media Days?
No.
No interest in Vegas in late July?
No.
All right, there he is, Dom Taberry. Dom, we'll catch up with you next week. Thanks for giving us the time this morning. We'll do Thing or Not a Thing next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
1-877-CARS for kids. KARS, Cars for kids. 1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
When you're ready to sell your car, another reason to choose Hinderer Motor Company is the easy, fast, fair, and hassle-free way to sell. This is Justin Hinderer. We pay top dollar for your vehicle, whatever the make or model, and no purchase is necessary. Consider trading and get even more toward your next vehicle. Drive in today and leave with cash or get a great deal. See why it's a pleasure doing business. Just visit HindererMotorCompany.com.
Back to Hollywood Casino Columbus and the ESPN Bet Sportsbook for an all-star game celebration and watch party. When? Tuesday, July 15th. Compete in our home run derby at 7 o'clock for a chance to win an incredible experience at an upcoming Reds game, plus a $250 gift card. So join On the Money's Dave Biddle and me, Scotty Vegas. Compete to win at 7 and enjoy the all-star game at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at 8. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Runyon from
from Runyon Dental Group. Are you missing teeth or do you have uncomfortable dentures? Dental implants can not only transform your smile, they can restore your confidence and allow you to eat those foods you love that you've been missing. When I was in my early 30s, I was in a similar situation needing complex dental work and dental implants. I understand all the emotions that you're feeling because I've been the patient and I know that we can help you. Schedule a free consultation today at runyondentalgroup.com. That's runyondentalgroup.com.
Common Man here. I want to talk to you about my buddy Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. It's rare that a business comes along and offers you such great quality, service, price. If you or someone you love or like, or even strangers on the street tell you they need a jeweler, tell them you got a guy, and that guy is Bob Capace at Worthington Jewelers.
I'm Bob Capace, and I'm your guy.
Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington, worthingtonjewelers.com, where Columbus gets engaged.
Your neighborhood Kroger pharmacy is happy to welcome back Express Scripts Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense Plan members. It's easy to transfer prescriptions at Kroger.com/payer update. See your Kroger pharmacy for details.
The Buckeyes are national champions. And you listen to it all right here on The Fan. And next year when they do it again, it'll be here on The Fan. And the year after that, well, you know the drill. Always and forever, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Hey, it's Austin Ward. Just heard Brandon Beam bragging about finally beating me in golf. Cute story. Let's set the record straight. I lost my 50 pounds with a Waken 180 first. Brandon saw my results, heard about my golf game, and thought, hey, I better do that too. Sure, Beam had some decent drives last weekend, but who carried the team when the shots really mattered? If your goal is to walk 18, drop 5 pant sizes, reduce your medications, just do exactly what I did. First, choose the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Imagine what it would feel like getting tackled head-on by a 240-pound linebacker. You'd be in serious pain, right? But if you're unbuckled in a car crash, at just 50 miles an hour, you become a deadly projectile that can slam into other passengers with 8 times that amount of force. Don't let someone else take the hit. Buckle up and visit buckleup.ohio.gov to learn more. Brought to you by ODOT and ODPS.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Time for 3 things. No, that's thing or not a thing on a Tuesday.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
I'll get it right, and by the time I do, Bo will be back and be like, hey, buddy, at 10:40, we do thing or not a thing. This was from earlier in the week, because everybody has a podcast now. Terry Bradshaw was a guest on the To the Point Home Services podcast. He had some words about teams drafting first-round quarterbacks.
I've always said this. You draft a quarterback in the first round, he is going to be successful, but you've got to surround him with the kind of talent he had in college. And they don't do it, and they call him a bust. Baker Mayfield's in Tampa Bay playing great now because he got talent around him. The Steelers get rid of Kenny Pickett, a first-rounder, got rid of him after 2 years, all right? And they're still looking for a quarterback. They didn't even do anything to build around him. Sam Darnold goes into Minnesota. Look at all those weapons. All those weapons. And look what happened.
Thing or not a thing?
It's a major thing, right? Because we talk about this all the time for some of these guys. Would you rather be the first pick in the draft, or would you rather get drafted later in the first round to a team that has a team that's pretty good and a team that's already built for you? I know the past couple of years we've seen the number 2 pick in the draft in Jaden Daniels and C.J. Stroud take teams to the playoffs the next year, but there was probably circumstances in there where they were a little better team or they were on the come, different coaching and whatnot. But yeah, I do think it matters. Now, do we overdraft a lot of these quarterbacks? Yes, we do. And Baker Mayfield was a guy that had some success in Cleveland, and then it went south, and then he goes to a couple different places. He lands with a good team in Tampa Bay, that has plenty of receivers, plenty of weapons. It works. Sam Darnold, would he have done what he done in Minnesota without the stop in San Francisco and learning from Kyle Shanahan and playing with a good team out there, at least being around a good team out there? Who knows? But he goes to Minnesota. He has some weapons. It works. I guess we'll see. That's going to be case study number one, right? With how does it work for Sam Darnold now that he signed the big deal and he goes to Seattle? And Seattle is a team that they still have JSN, but they got rid of some of their weapons, right? No Tyler Lockett, no DK Metcalf anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see with Sam Darnold this year. Kenny Pickett. The Browns don't have a ton of weapons on that team. So is he really going to be put in a spot in Cleveland where he could succeed, if he could succeed at all? But yeah, if you're going to make the investment into a quarterback in the first round, you should give him the weapons. And it's the one thing that I will commend the Bengals with doing. In the same draft, they got Joe Burrow. They drafted T. Higgins. Then they drafted Jamar Chase. Remember, there was the talk, is it Penei Sewell? Is it Jamar Chase with that 5th pick? They went with Jamar Chase. They've locked those dudes up now. Now, are there questions about the Bengals on the defensive side of the ball? Yes, there are. But they've at least given Joe Burrow weapons so he could succeed on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, that's a thing, and that's a thing for me. And I was going to go exactly right there, Baker, with the Bengals. They drafted T. Higgins with Joe Burrow. They knew they wanted to commit to him being their franchise quarterback. They saw what he had at LSU and what he can bring to the NFL, and then they follow it the year after and take Jamar Chase. No, it's huge. You want to see some of these quarterbacks come into the league that had great success in college. You want to see them succeed in the NFL. But if they go to a bad situation with no weapons, it's going to take some time, and like we're seeing that with Kenny Pickett.
So many times in the history of the National Football League, you bring in a first-round quarterback, you draft him 1, 2, 3, and even more so recently, there's been a push to get this guy out onto the field. But if you have a chaotic situation, if you have turmoil in your front office, if you have no talent on the roster, you break that toy to a point where it just can't come back. It learns too many. I think of Tim Couch all the time, where he just learned so much. It just was bad. Everything was bad around him. And so he was never able to make up for that because he just had so much bad so early.
We also, we have no patience anymore, right? Quarterback is a developmental position. And so many times we've seen a few guys that have come in and have had success right away. Some of the greats, and we're like, oh, well, they've got to do it right now. Where the quarterback position more than any. And that's why we've seen, Reese, some of these guys that have come in recently and had success right away are guys that had 4- and 5-year college football careers. They've played a lot of football at the college level. Some of these guys, like a Sam Darnold, he only had 2 years that he really played football at USC, and you need more time to develop at that position.
So we know right now that the Royals and the Chiefs play on the Kansas City side of Missouri. A Kansas legislative committee has extended a deadline for the Chiefs and Royals to take advantage of a stadium financing plan from that state. The Legislative Coordinating Council voted Monday to unanimously approve the extension to use bonds to cover 70% of a new stadium cost if the team decides to relocate to the state. The new deadline is June 30th of 2026, although the committee would like an answer from both teams by December 31st. Chiefs President Mark Donovan wrote in a letter to the Kansas Senate, "Together we have the opportunity to bring the National Football League to Kansas, anchored by a world-class domed stadium, new team headquarters, a state-of-the-art practice facility, and a vibrant mixed-use and entertainment district." Royals and Chiefs, again, currently play on the Missouri side of that city. Thing or not a thing?
I'll tell you what, if you're out there, this is a big thing. Like, I have my buddy lives in Kansas City. He lived on the Kansas side, moved just onto the Missouri side now. And, man, people out there, that's a big deal. And there's some people that are fired up about it. I think it's a thing, and I hope it doesn't happen because I think they have a pretty cool setup right now with Arrowhead and Kauffman Stadium being right there where they share parking lots. And we know the tailgating out there is great, and Arrowhead is such a great home field advantage. I hope that it stays the way it is right now. But it's not like they're going to be moving far. If they move, they're not going to be either team is going to be taking away from Kansas City. It's almost like the Browns moving from downtown to Brook Park. They're still going to be Cleveland. It's just going to be, in this situation, maybe not in the city and not in the state, actually. So,
yeah, it's weird how that is. It's a thing for me just because we've been seeing it over this Chiefs run that Arrowhead has become somewhat of an iconic venue, and I wouldn't want to see that go away. I'd want to see the Chiefs continue to play their football games there.
Hey, we got a 4-pack of tickets to the Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals starting Friday. It's this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center. You can check out over 6,000 of the country's coolest hot rods, muscle cars, trucks, customs, and more on display. The passes are good for one of the days, July 11th, the 12th, and or the 13th at the Ohio Expo Center. Again, starts Friday. For more information, visit goodguys.com. So again, that 4-pack of tickets we will give to the third caller at 821-9710. Coming up next, our 20 most interesting college football programs takes us to Folsom for the Colorado Buffaloes. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we helped Chad.
Hi, I'm Chad. I've been taking the low T treatment at Tri-State Men's Health for a little under a year now. So I was really just struggling with finding the energy to accomplish the things I wanted to do every day. By the end of the workday, I was very drained and tired and found it hard to concentrate and get my job done and was looking for something to kind of get that edge back. Once I started taking the treatment, I felt probably within the first 2 to 3 weeks more energy. And the thing that really I noticed right away was sleeping. Now I get a solid 8 hours. I'm going on vacation. I'm enjoying myself. So men out there, if you're struggling with any of the symptoms I was, low energy, brain fog, lack of sleep, I would highly recommend you call Tri-State Men's Health. You won't regret it.
Thanks, Chad. It's true. Low T therapy will likely change your life. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet.
You get a lease, you get Wi-Fi.
Yes,
immediately.
We need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
I need a small order of sheet metal to repair something in the shop. It's not much, but can you help me out?
At Metal Supermarkets, no order is too small.
Wait, really?
Yep.
What about small home projects?
Yep.
For a car I'm working on?
Yep.
Any kind of metal?
Yep.
Cut to size?
Yep.
With no minimum order?
Yep.
How about 1,000 cut pieces of aluminum flat bar?
Yep. Choose from over 8,000 types, shapes, and grades of metal in any quantity you need. And yes, we're serious. Any metal, any size, ready fast. Locally owned on Wilson Road.
Your bathroom's got to go, the vanity's decayed, and toilet's really old. The bathtub's giving way. If that's our us a ring, call morning, noon, or night. You do not have to wait to get your bathroom right.
Call Baths R Us for your free estimate and enter to win our Christmas in July $12,500 bathroom remodel with an additional savings of up to $3,000 plus low to no monthly payments. 380-225-2284. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
Hey, Tinsley, why don't we use EasyCater to order food for staff lunches?
Because my 46-page acronym system is so easy. I just have to salad, stay alert to late arriving deliveries, pie, put in expenses, and Google Pie. Go out and get everyone's preferences and allergy information.
That's supposed to be simple?
No, simple is Steve and Irma and Margie prefer lasagna and empanadas.
OMG.
No need to make work life more complicated. Just use EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Newman Roofing, as part of their 2025 Commitment to Community initiative, is proud to sponsor the Fan and 10 TV's Beat the Heat Fan Drive, benefiting Life Care Alliance. You can help Ohio's most vulnerable residents deal with the extreme heat this summer. How can you help? Purchase new box fans and bring them to the nearest Franklin County Fire Station, or you can buy online and ship fans directly to Life Care Alliance. The collection and distribution of fans is to assist residents who are at risk of heat stroke or heat exhaustion. For more information, go to lifecarealliance.org.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Here's comedian Howie Mandel for hands-free Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins.
Yeah, I'm holding a new Cozy Fit Skechers slip-in sneaker, and first of all, I barely know I'm holding it. It's that light. You see, Cozy Fit is a cool new sneaker where the upper is made of a soft quilted material. It's kind of like a little puffer jacket for your feet, except it looks like a super stylish sneaker.
Introducing new Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins, the latest comfort creation from Skechers. You can find Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. For the first time since June 25th, the Cleveland Guardians are winners. Jose Ramirez hit a 3-run home run in the fifth to power Cleveland to a 7-5 victory last night in Houston over the Astros. That win snaps a 10-game losing streak. Both teams are back at it tonight at 8-10. As for the Reds, Cincinnati dropped their third straight, a 5-1 loss to the Miami Marlins last night in Ohio's Queen City. Brady Singer was chased in the fifth. The Marlins scored twice that inning, then plated two more in the sixth. Cincinnati still one game above 500. They'll host Miami again tonight at 7:10. You can hear that one on the Fan following the Buckeyes show. In the minors, the Clippers look to halt a 3-game slide. Columbus is back at Huntington Park tonight hosting the Louisville Bats. In college football, Big 12 Media Days have begun in Dallas. The SEC will hold Media Days next week in Atlanta. The Big 12 will have its Media Days at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas starting on July 22nd. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Cool thing about Media Days is that it gets us one day closer to the start of the college football season. Not so cool thing about Media Days is it gets us one day closer to the end of summer. So I'm not trying to wish anything away, but as the Big 12's rolling along with its Media Days at Jerry World in Dallas, you're also reminded of who the teams are in the Big 12. Like Arizona State won the conference last year. Cincinnati is a Big 12 school. Scott Satterfield's the coach of the Bearcats. Their contingent includes a former Buckeye and one tight end, Joe Royer. And looking at the Bearcats, our lads roster, there's Kai Stokes. I see him as a former Buckeye. Pat Gerd, another tight end, former Buckeye. A smart thing to do. And schools like this, I think, have taken great advantage of the talent that goes elsewhere or that hits the transfer portal that aren't known, but that have some high school pedigree, that have some talent that just, for whatever reason, situations being different everywhere in the country, haven't been able to fully maximize that potential. I also speak to Colorado running back Dallin Hayden. He's not one of the Buffaloes that's with Coach Prime at Big 12 Media Days, but our lads and Dan Shanka and company do a great job of projecting out depth charts for college football teams, all 136 of them, and they've got Dallin Hayden RB1 for the Buffaloes this upcoming season. Hayden had like a 381 yards rushing last year, and now Coach Prime is doing something very ambitious in roster turnover year to year to year. I think they got 7 offensive linemen out of the transfer portal. So in year 3 for Prime at Folsom, I'll be very interested to see how things are going and what the expectations are. Jake Schwanitz from DNVR Buffs is going to join us at 11:30. You can get the DNVR Buffs and their podcast. They do such a good job covering Colorado football. Get them on YouTube. Of course, that's where you get everything from the fans. So if you missed our conversation with Dom Taber, anything that we've done over the past couple of days, weeks, months, years at WBNS Radio, is where you will find that. But we rolled a Folsom in our 20 most interesting college football programs.
As college football draws near, Bishop and Friends present the 20 most interesting programs. Spoiler alert, Rutgers isn't one of them.
Did I say 12 most interesting? It's the 20, as you heard Big Voice Guy there in that open. Also, for the 90th year in a row, Rutgers will not be one of the most interesting programs that at least we cover.
Darn.
It's the Colorado Buffaloes, like I just said. 9-3 last season, 7-2 in the Big 12. That's tied with 4 other schools for first place. The Buffaloes lost to BYU 36-14 in the Alamo Bowl. Coach Prime is 13-12, entering his 3rd season with the Buffaloes. He's had several medical issues. I think he got part of his foot amputated, at least like one of his toes. I don't know if it was the great toe, but Deion says that he's good to go health-wise going into this season. So that's a good thing, because I do think college football is better when you have Deion Sanders fully healthy. This has been the most interesting for me college football experiment of the past couple of years and what Colorado's done.
It's pretty interesting that you say that and where we're at. And yet it's 13-12. Now they jumped to 4-8 the first year and obviously had a great year last year. I think that helps, though, when you have maybe the best player in college football in Travis Hunter, who was obviously with him, followed him from Jackson State, and then his son as well, Shedeur Sanders, who, say what you want, this guy is on an NFL roster right now. He's a guy that got drafted. Did he get drafted where they thought he was going to? No, but there's no doubt there's talent, and he was one of the better quarterbacks in college football last year. So I think Colorado is fascinating this year, Reese, because what will they do without those two? What do they do at the quarterback position? They've got Julian Lewis, who was a #1 quarterback recruit coming out of high school. They brought Caden Salter, who has had a great career at Liberty up until now. And then you mentioned 7 new offensive linemen. Well, they had 9 leave as well. And we know the offensive line, if there's one position on the football field that it's really, really nice to have continuity and familiarity at, it's the offensive line. And they're going to have 4 new starters on that offensive line this year, regardless, except for Jordan Seaton, who was a big-time offensive line recruit that Ohio State lost out on to because he wanted to go to Colorado with Coach Prime. He's a sophomore now. He's the only returning starter on that O-line.
So much production for the Buffaloes is gone. So much production for the Buffaloes last year was in Travis Hunter and in Shedeur Sanders, as you mentioned. They do return their second leading rusher in Dallin Hayden. Ohio State fans know that name very well. DJ McKinney, their cornerback, was second on the team in INTs. He's the only one to register a pick 6 for the Buffaloes last year, obviously first in INTs, Travis Hunter. And defensive end Arden Walker was first in sacks for the Buffaloes a year ago. And so they return some of that production. Those are going to be the leaders that they need to step up. Talked about Caden Sattler. They brought in from Liberty, those 7 offensive line transfers. They get Sincere Brown, wide receiver out of the transfer portal from South Florida. Because there's so much unknown with the Big 12, I look at their schedule and I go, it's navigable, but they've also got so much unknown that I don't know what would separate them from, what would it be, 7-2, 8-1, or 2-7. They open August 29th, taking on Georgia Tech, but they're hosting the Rambling Wreck there. But we think Georgia Tech's going to be much improved than they were, and much improved from where they were last year is pretty damn good. They've got Delaware, their non-conference cupcake. And then they're at Houston, Wyoming. They got BYU September 27th. They're at Utah on October 25th. November 22nd, they're going to be hosting the defending Big 12 champion Arizona State Sun Devils. They avoid Texas Tech. So I think I saw that with 9-3, a year removed from 4 wins the year before the win was 1 year, or 1 win in the year prior to the 4 wins. Moving on up factors them 10-2. Who's to say they can't?
Me.
Yeah,
I say they
same.
can't, because I don't see how they're going to be a better football team this year without Shedeur and without Travis Hunter, quite frankly.
They're not. You can't lose that kind of production and be better.
Now, I could be wrong. that's possible, but I just don't believe so. I think the one thing that concerns me, Reese, and I've never loved what Deion Sanders has done here, the way he's flipped this roster so many times. He came in that first year, what was it, like 50 people in the transfer portal,
Bringing
40 people
luggage.
in the transfer portal. Then last year they had another overhaul. This year the same thing. 33 come in the door, 33 go out. But the one thing that really concerns me about what they have coming in this year is, there's 33 people, but they're still just ranked 19th in the transfer portal ratings, according to 24/7 Sports. An 86.38 average on those guys. Four stars in that list, 28 3-stars. So it doesn't seem like to me, they're bringing in a lot of players, but I don't think they're bringing in a lot of difference makers. And as we talked about, you had two big-time difference makers from last year's team that you need to replace.
And Vegas doesn't love the Buffaloes either. I'm seeing it two different places, 6.5, the over-under. Someone has them at 6. That looks like Bally Bet has 6 wins for the over-under total for your Buffaloes in 2025. But
it's definitely going to have to be a big coaching job by Prime this year. And one of their big struggles last year was on the offensive line. Like we saw Shador scrambling for his life almost every time he dropped back. And it looks like they have a brand new offensive line coming in via the transfer portal. So that could be good for Dallin Hayden if it works out, if it's developed the right way. It's all we'll see.
It's Pat Shurmur, your offensive coordinator. Robert Livingston, the defensive coordinator. Marshall Falks, also an assistant coach of the running backs. Warren Sapp is your defensive pass rush coordinator. So a lot of big names, but I'm fascinated to see what the Buffaloes do. Jake Schwanitz from DNVR Buffs will join the program at 11:30. We will touch on the categories for the Colorado Buffaloes coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
We're known for 3 things: games, conversation, and common man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Save on select bags of Doritos, Cheetos, or Tostitos. Mix and match your favorite flavors and buy 2, get 3 free with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
One of my favorite things, Wilson, is the look on people's faces when they see the end price for Pella windows.
Yeah, I'm always hearing, does it look like I'm wearing my money breeches?
More like, I can't believe we get the Pella look and quality at these prices.
Oh, you went the other way with that. You're hearing good things. Oh, this is awkward.
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate you snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your significant other will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, it stops your snoring. That's the point. It's quick, it's comfortable, and it's an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea. And he's helped countless patients breathe easier, sleep better, and live healthier, more energized lives. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Schedule your appointment now with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. Once again, that's sleepbettercolumbus.com.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver, leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
I have taught many students over my 34-year career in public education, and I've had the honor of serving more than 100,000 public school educators as the president of the Ohio Education Association. As I retire from teaching and we welcome a new OEA president next week, I want to say thank you for this enormous privilege.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm getting married today.
You may now kiss the bride.
I'm also a firefighter and first responder. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're also making sure I can get to my wedding ceremony to start the next chapter of my life.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Let's all give them room to work. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A mainly dry day today for us with more sunshine and afternoon highs getting into the upper 80s. For tonight, lows overnight down into the 60s. We'll still see that humidity with us going into Wednesday with partly to mostly cloudy skies, and we could see some isolated showers and storms in the afternoon with highs again in the upper 80s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
Reeser is here to tell you that Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 78 years. Jake Schwanitz from DNVR Buffs will join us coming up here in about 15 minutes. He's got eyes, ears, nose on the ground in Dallas for Big 12 Media Days. Those kicked off this morning at Jerry's World, the Dallas Cowboys global headquarters in Frisco, Texas. Coach Prime there in his third season, entering his third season in Colorado with a pretty interesting contingent. Now, both of their quarterbacks that'll, I don't know what the heck to make of a Colorado Buffalo team entering 2025. But Jake Schwanitz is going to give us the down low on the Buffaloes coming up here when he joins us again. I said 15 minutes. Let's hit the categories for the Buffs. Fight, see you fight. This is the Folsom Field fight song.
I mean, it's powerful. Yeah. Sounds good.
I think this is my favorite thing about doing this is you get to hear all of the fight songs. Like, it was one of the coolest things growing up when you played the then NCAA college football game, was the loading screens had the fight songs. And you'd get to go around the country and kind of experience different teams and their fight songs and their stadiums, even their mascots. I think that's why it's so much better of a product, college football, than the NFL. And I also think that's why the NFL, the NCAA video games for 20 years have been better than their Madden counterparts. For Colorado, NIL portal grade, Baker.
So we talked a little bit about this last segment. 33 in, 33 out. 7 new offensive linemen. They're replacing 9 offensive linemen that left via the portal. The quality of player is not super high that Dion is bringing in this year, so I don't really love what they've done in the portal this offseason. So I'm just going to give it kind of an average grade here. I'll give it a C because I don't know. I don't know how much it improved their team, if at all.
I think I'm going to go a little bit more generous and give them a B- because Dion attacked one of the areas that he needed to attack the most. Now, if it all works out, like I said in the last segment, that's still remained to be seen. But I think it's not bad. You lost a lot, but you brought in the same amount. So
Yeah, I'll split the difference. I'll do C+. I think it's a bit above average in that, to what you said, Jacob, you had needs and you addressed the needs in the portal. Did you address all of them? We have no idea outside of you needed this position, you got a guy from this position. I don't know if Colorado's ever going to be able to compete monetarily, booster-wise, with some of the bigger players like Texas A&M, like LSU in the transfer portal, but they gave it a damn good effort, in my opinion. Will it work? Your guess is as good as mine. Would Buddy Garrity want to run their collective grade, Baker?
So you just kind of mentioned it, right? Like, you don't know how much Colorado has in that, but they do have Dion. And I do think as long as Dion's there, people are going to gravitate towards that program and they're going to want to give. And Colorado at one time was a big-time program. I still remember them splitting a national championship in 1990. So maybe I'm being generous here, but I'm giving this a B-.
I am not all for it just because I think Dion will just do what he wants to do, and that'll be that. So I'll be like a little average grade. Just go C.
I gave it a C as well. I don't think that Buddy Garrity would want to deal with Coach Prime at all.
Yeah.
That's oil and water to me and how those two would want to go about business respectively. And so, no, Buddy Garrity, I don't think if he had other options would want to run the collective for the Buffaloes. Campus social life grade in Boulder, Colorado.
So obviously the scenery is great out there, and I've heard a lot of people really enjoy that part of the world and say that there is a lot to do and whatnot. So I'm going to give it a B. I think campus life is probably pretty good on Colorado.
Yeah, I'll go with you. You can't beat the mountains and the scene that they have, and we've seen it on College Game Day a couple times when they've gone out to Boulder, and you've got the mountains in the view and the sunrise still happening. From what I read, it sounds like they got a bunch of nice little spots to go and hang out on campus. So I'll go B+.
Yeah, Boulder always makes like the top 10, or always, when I paid attention to these sorts of things, the Playboy party school list. Boulder was always up there. You know, it was up there with Madison and with Athens, and both Athens, I should say.
You reading the articles.
Well, that's what you're there for, right? And I would think that, coupled with the scenery, coupled with what you can do in and around Boulder and Denver and Colorado. I'm a big mountains outdoorsy guy, so I would have to give it an A. Player of the team that we would want in scarlet and gray. Which Colorado Buffalo would we want to be wearing Ohio State's uniform this season?
So there were two guys that immediately popped into my head, and funny enough, both of them have Ohio State ties here. I thought about Jordan Seaton, the big offensive lineman who was the top offensive lineman that was being recruited by Ohio State heavily, and then he ended up going to Colorado, and he's in his second year out there now. The only guy from the team last year that is going to be returning and starting on that offensive line. But ultimately here, I'm going to go with the guy that we saw do it in the scarlet and gray once, and that is Dallin Hayden. Dallin Hayden had some great flashes here at Ohio State, and it's still a bummer to me that he actually left and transferred from Ohio State. And I think James Peoples is going to be a really good running back, maybe a star running back at Ohio State. C.J. Donaldson obviously has experience coming in from West Virginia, and we think the freshman Bo Jackson is going to be a really good back as well. I've seen Dallin Hayden, though, be a really good running back in the scarlet and gray. And I just like to have that production that I've seen, you know, that warm blanket that is what I know. And I know Dallin Hayden can produce as a Buckeye. So I would like to have Dallin Hayden back in this running back room.
Yep, I'm exactly right there. Give me Dallin Hayden back. Like you were hitting there, the production outweighs the potential, and we've seen it from Dallin Hayden.
Yeah, it would be, I mean, to have that kind of a what if will always linger over Dallin if he had stayed. You know, I know that there was a lot of chatter after his, performances when he was in Columbus of like, why isn't he getting more carries? For me, the answer is none, because I don't look at this roster and see that an offensive lineman that Colorado's gotten from the transfer portal. They paid him a bunch of money, or that he wants to be developed by Dion. I'm good. Same as I was with Texas Tech had a couple. Colorado, they have none. Do they wear the right uniforms, Grade?
So
I give it a B.
I think their helmets are undefeated. I think all three that they wear are pretty good. I really like the white helmet. I think it's really sharp. That gold helmet, though, to me, it's just, maybe it's because what I remember of Colorado football back when they were still pretty good. I think their gold helmet, their gold jersey with some stripes on the sleeve. Now, they don't wear the stripes on the sleeve anymore, unfortunately. But that gold, the gold, and then the gold pants that match the helmet color. Like, they don't wear the gold pants that match that helmet anymore. It's kind of a dulled down color of pant. I think that uniform was undefeated. I do love the helmet, though. I'm going to give it a B. I was thinking B minus, but I'm going B.
These jerseys don't do it for me. The font of the Colorado on the chest, it's just pretty generic. It's like the same font that I use for my TikTok videos. So I don't really like that. I mean, I can get behind the all white or the white helmet, but
it's what the kids want these days is the TikTok font. Yeah, they're B. They're good.
Their gray uniform can go away. I don't need a gray uniform for Colorado.
Looking at the CU logo, I guess I'll change my answer. Player in scarlet and gray. I'd love Ralphie. Just give me the Buffalo. I think that'd be hilarious. You'd have to do this 10 years down the road to get a home and home with Colorado, but allow the Buffaloes to bring Ralphie east. Although I don't know how that would be for the animals' well-being, but to see him run across the field at Ohio State, it would be pretty cool.
That just took me back to our NCAA bracket where we did who would win in a fight with the mascot. Buffalo's pretty good.
That's one of the better intros in the sport of college football. I'll just say in sport. They're running out behind a wild buffalo. And if that thing buffaloes, that's a hell of a scene. All-time biggest man on campus.
So I think this is going to eventually be Travis Hunter. But to me, when I think of Colorado football, I will always think of the number 19 in the year that Rashaan Salaam had when he won the Heisman Trophy. And unfortunately, Rashaan Salaam, been gone for 9 years now, died at the age of 42, unfortunately took his own life. But Rashaan Salaam is always the guy that I think of when I think Colorado football. So it's going to be Travis Hunter, and it might be Travis Hunter for a lot of people now, but Rashaan Salaam's my guy.
Yeah, I think it'll be Travis Hunter, but my guy I'm going with is one that we hear a lot on Saturdays, Joel Klatt, who played quarterback at Colorado. He's from the area too, 4 seasons from 2002 to 2005. Didn't really get started until his sophomore year, played 11 games. But yeah, I'll go with Joel Klatt there.
You and Gus Johnson, that's what you share in common. Your quarterback, Joel Klatt. It's Travis Hunter. The guy won the Heisman playing as good as anybody in the country at both positions. And the kids all know him because he was as online, but in an okay way, as any player in college football. Like he never went at people like a Kevin Durant or like the burner situation, but he was available everywhere. And so I think anybody almost that anywhere in Denver, anywhere in Boulder, anywhere in football, really, football places, they know who Travis Hunter is. Jake Schwanitz from DNVR Buffs will join us in 2 minutes to break down year 3 under Coach Prime. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With Truehold, you can sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. Truehold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since Truehold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit Truehold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours, based on its current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Hey, Tinsley, why don't we use EasyCater to order food for staff lunches?
Because my 46-page acronym system is so easy. I just have to salad, stay alert to late arriving deliveries, pie, put in expenses, and Google Pie. Go out and get everyone's preferences and allergy information.
That's supposed to be simple?
No, simple is Stephen, Irma, and Margie prefer lasagna and empanadas.
OMG.
No need to make work life more complicated. Just use EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The friends are the guests and listeners. Reeser and Baker just work here.
Back to work. Back to work. Everybody, work, 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 work.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
I'm delighted we could get a signal out. A busy day in Dallas as Big 12 Media Days take over the Star in Frisco. We go out now to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Jake Schwanitz from DNVR Buffs, our guest. Find all things Colorado football on DNVR Buffs on YouTube. Jake, thanks so much for the time this morning, bud. Just real quick before we start, can we get a Coach Prime health update?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I wish I had one for you guys, man. I've been dying to learn as well. But I think the plan is, for Coach Prime to show up tomorrow. All indications I've heard are good that he'll be here. And, I think he's going to speak, and we'll finally get some clarification on what's going on.
Jake, thanks so much for joining us. I know it's a busy couple of days for you. I want to talk about the running back position in Dallin Hayden, obviously a guy that we know here well. He had some performances here at Ohio State that really showed that he could do it on the field. Last year, the second leading rusher, just 300 yards, though. He's kind of penciled in to be the guy this year. What are the reports on Dallin Hayden? How excited are they to have him be the man this year?
I mean, I think they're really excited about the running back room in general, honestly. It's a room that was disappointing last year, but, I mean, if you watch the games, you know that the offensive line was a disaster at best at times, and the running game was non-existent. But they're very excited about Dallin. They loved the acquisition last year when they got him out of the portal, and they thought he could really do some things, out of the backfield in terms of just expanding the passing game, too. He's a pretty good pass catcher. Also, he got that, high ankle sprain or whatever it was against Nebraska early in the season that really kind of derailed him. He was just never, ever able to recover to, what you saw at Ohio State. He did have his flashes, though, but they're really excited about him. They're excited about Michael Welsh, who's also behind him, and then they got a new transfer from Incarnate Word to Kalen Taylor, who's going to bring a little bit more of a speed element that they were missing last year after Dylan Edwards, entered the transfer portal and ended up going to Kansas State. But Dallin is projected to be, in line, him and Micah, I think, to lead this backfield. It's going to be a big opportunity, too. I mean, I think this team is going to run the ball a lot better and potentially surprise some people specifically in that area this season.
Jake, it feels like it's the third offseason that Deion Sanders has gone into the transfer portal to revamp that offensive line. Do you think third time's the charm here?
I do, actually. I think they're really excited about two guys in particular that they got at the guard spots. And that's really been one of the weakest spots for this team on the offensive line over the last few years. I mean, how many times do you remember seeing Shedeur drop back and pressures in his face instantly? And then, it was a weak interior offensive line, but you got a right guard in Zy Chrysler coming in from Illinois, someone who was, I think he made like second team all Big 10 at one point. He's a massive, massive guard too. I think he's around 6'6", 6'7", 330-some pounds. He's a road grader. And then on the other side, they got Xavier Hill out of Memphis. He started, I think, 20-plus consecutive games for the Tigers at that spot. So they've really solidified the guards. Obviously, you have Jordan Seaton at left tackle, one of the best young players in all of college football, one of the best left tackles in college football, returning this year. So if they get some stability at center, which is going to be probably Zarian McGill, a vet who played at Louisiana Tech for a while, And then right tackle, right tackle is probably the most open position right now in terms of competition. But this is going to be an older offensive line than what we've seen previous years, more experienced in terms of games played, snaps played, and just proven on-field production of moving people in the right direction.
Jake, we talked a little bit about the offensive line there, and they hit the transfer portal obviously really hard with that position. And just overall, with I know we live in the college football transfer portal world now, but Colorado the past 3 years has hit the portal really hard. A lot of guys coming in, a lot of guys going out. Are people in Colorado worried at all about the sustainability of that model, especially on the offensive line where we know continuity is so big?
Yeah, I mean, there's been some, reaction this offseason in terms of recruiting. It was a strong portal season for CU again this year, though. I mean, as long as Coach Prime is your coach, I think you're going to be in the conversation in the market for some of these high-profile transfers, just because of the stage and the opportunity that he presents with his team. But they're kind of switching a little bit more to a high school recruiting model here this off season with this 2026 recruiting class, particularly at the offensive line. They just got Xavier Payne, a 3-star offensive tackle from Florida yesterday, who committed. He's about 6'7", I think like 340 pounds, so he's a big boy. And that's clearly been the emphasis. They got some guys in this previous recruiting class also. Carde Smith, he's a tackle, and then Chauncey Gooden at guard. So they are developing that depth along the offensive line, and they are getting younger at that position. I think it's a bit too early maybe this year to see some of those guys really make an impact, but it's clearly trending in that direction, at least in the near future at Colorado.
Jake Schwanitz, our guest. He covers the Colorado Buffaloes for DNVR Buffs. You can find all the content he'll be cranking out over on YouTube this week at Big 12 Media Days. What is anybody's guess on how this conference is going to pan out on the field this fall, Jake?
You tell me, honestly. I think it's one of the things that makes this conference great, really. I mean, last year, obviously, ASU voted last in the media poll. They end up winning the whole thing, and then they end up taking the media poll away here at Big 12 Media Days. So we don't even really have a gauge of what everyone else who's here is thinking of who's the strongest teams. But, it's kind of the usual suspects. I mean, ASU, obviously, after last year, you got to throw in the conversation. Baylor with Sawyer Robertson, I think, is going to be strong. But then, Kansas State, Iowa State, some of the usual suspects. And honestly, I think Colorado could sneak into the conversation potentially too. I think they're being vastly overlooked. But this is why we love college football, right? Is conferences, kind of settings like the Big 12 where it's any given Saturday, anyone could win. It could be a team voted last. It could be, would it necessarily shock a lot of people if one of those teams like UCF, they're not projected to do well. But in this conference, I mean, you can pull out 6 games in a bowl berth just like that. I mean, it's anyone's conference. Jake, what are the expectations from this fan base for the Buffaloes? Man, to put it bluntly, Big 12 title. Obviously coming off a 9-win season, the fan base wants to see progression in that. You got the questions in terms of losing Travis and Shedeur and, those receivers. There's some holes to fill, but this is honestly the deepest Colorado has been, clearly since Coach Prime has been here, and maybe since, 2016 when they went on a little bit of a run back in the Pac-12. So, deeper on the trenches, we talked about the offensive line. Defensive line is probably one of, if not the strongest position groups on the team this year, particularly those edge rushers. They're going to have receivers. They've been, building that room since Coach Prime arrived. They're going to have a strong secondary. It's really just going to come down to what we see out of the quarterbacks. And that's really, I think, the biggest question with Colorado and why people aren't very confident in them right now. It's, you got a young guy in Julian Lewis and a vet in Caden Salter, and all reports are that it's really very close. And everyone I talk to in the program says the same as well. So we'll see who ends up winning that competition if they end up doing the 2-quarterback system, but that's going to basically determine a lot. This is a good football team, though. You're going to see some good things out of this team this year.
I'm glad you just mentioned the quarterbacks, Jake, because that's what I was going to ask you about. Obviously, big shoes to fill, replacing Shedeur Sanders, and what a great year he had last year at Colorado. Salter has been very productive at Liberty. Julian Lewis, the #1 recruit coming in. So you do think Lewis has a chance at winning this job? How do they feel about both of those guys?
They love them. They're very excited about them. I mean, and it's two different elements, too. I think that's what makes this quarterback competition so intriguing and why it may be so close. Julian probably profiles more as a Shedeur type of quarterback. You know, he wants to work out of the pocket. He wants to show off his accuracy, his ability to hit tight windows downfield. Very, very, very productive passer out there in Georgia when he was in high school. I mean, graduated in 3 years, very smart kid. So there's a lot to like about him, and it's not surprising, honestly, that he's in the conversation to start already. Caden Salter, you know, you really kind of start with his legs, obviously, but he is an underrated passer, I think. I mean, you go back and look at Liberty last year in particular, that just wasn't as strong of a team as it was 2 years ago when they went and played Oregon in, I think, a New Year's Six Bowl. They did lose, you know, pretty badly in that game, but Caden Salter did have his moments, made some throws on that secondary as well. So they're confident in both of them throwing the football. You know, Caden Salter's legs are going to be a big factor in this, and we'll see exactly how the offense is tailored around that. I think that's going to be a big indicator. You know, I wish I could tell you during practice. I mean, we don't get to see practice. We'll find out at Georgia Tech just like everyone else. But that game is going to be a big indicator in terms of the direction they want to go for the season. But also, I wouldn't rule out, like, Julian Lewis, you know, starting later in the year if he starts to come along and just start to, you know, dice up the field kind of like Shedeur used to.
DNVR Buffs on YouTube is where you'll find all of the stuff that you'll need for the Colorado Buffaloes this upcoming season. Jake, thanks so much for the time today. Enjoy Big 12 Media Days, and we'll catch up sometime later in the season. All right, bud?
Thank you, guys. That was fun. We'll do it again for sure.
He joins us courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline, Jake Schwanitz from DNVR Buffs. We'll do three things coming up next. Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
When you speed, you have less time to react. Follow the speed limit to keep other road users safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
The big one is back. The Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals presented by PPG. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Over 6,000 of the nation's baddest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Don't miss Good Guys autocross racing action. A tire-smoking burnout competition. A pro street takeover. Earth-shaking Nitro Thunderfest. Meet the top builders in the industry and more. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
When it comes to home improvement, you've probably asked yourself a few key questions. Is the salesperson trustworthy? Will the company follow through on their promises? And is the work going to be a lasting solution, not just a quick fix? At Newman Roofing, we get it. As a locally based, family-owned company, we know how hard it can be to find a contractor you can truly trust. For over 33 years, we've been providing homeowners across Central Ohio with reliable roofing solutions done right the first time. When you choose Newman Roofing, you'll be greeted by value-driven professionals in clean company vehicles and crisp uniforms who show up with a smile and take the time to answer your questions. Because for us, it's not just about the roof. It's about protecting your home, your family, and the trust you place in us. If you're thinking about your roof or siding, call the local company that puts integrity first. Newman Roofing. Call today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
This wasn't how Patrick pictured himself in retirement. Instead of playing golf every day, he could barely walk because of his severe knee pain.
It hampered everything because it hurt to walk around the golf course. It hurt to swing, just pretty much hurt doing anything.
But the groundbreaking regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics changed everything for Patrick. QC Kinetics uses your body's own healing properties to help repair and restore damaged tissue in your knees, hips, back, and shoulders. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime.
The turnaround's been amazing from where I was to where I am now. I've gone from a 15 handicap down to a 7 handicap. That's because my knees allow me to play golf like I haven't been able to play probably in 15 years.
Don't let joint pain keep you from doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544.
380-208-4544.
Call the folks at Buckeye, night or day.
My AC stopped working. Your competition says it's fried. When I saw their cost to replace it, I could have just died.
We can give a second opinion, give you options and advice. We'll strive to earn your trust and make you a client for life. Get a free second opinion, replace or repair. Call 614-683-9911. Call the folks at Buckeye, night or day.
It's hot out. Stay in the house and cool yourself with the sweet sounds of The Fan. You can watch on YouTube or tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 The Fan. It's the equivalent of putting ice cubes down your pants. All right! The Fan.
Hey, it's Anthony. I actually enjoy the off-season. Gives me a chance to be really active, travel, be on the move. But when my back started giving me pain, I wasn't going to just deal with it this time. I went to the Good Feet store. Their personally fit arch supports got my feet into their ideal alignment, and I could already feel the difference in my back immediately. And they educated me. I had no clue we actually have several arches under our feet, and those cushy over-the-counter insoles were not going to do the trick. So many people suffering with pain can benefit from their system. People with pain in their feet, ankles, lower legs, knees, hips, and more. I've been wearing my personally fit arch supports for a while now, and they've given me the motivation and confidence to be as active as I want to be. The Good Feet store thrives on being solution-oriented. Go in. The fitting is free. They want you to try them in the store and feel them for yourself. So get back to living the life you love with the Good Feet store. They're on Stringtown Road in Grove City and on Polaris Parkway. Or check them out at goodfeet.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
Our thanks to Jake Schwanitz from DNVR Buffs for his time in the last segment. Big 12 Media Days today, tomorrow. Jerry's World in Dallas, the location. That's a pretty sweet place to do media days. You know, ACC is going to be doing theirs in a hotel ballroom. Big Ten's going to be doing theirs at Mandalay Bay. The SEC's at the College Football Hall of Fame. The 3 out of the 4 make sense. I still don't get the damn Mandalay Bay for the Big Ten. Unless Big Ten Media Days is brought to you by DraftKings.
Listen, I'm all for it. I don't care. I'm all for it. The Big Ten has expanded west. Why not? I don't need an excuse to go to Vegas. Let's go.
The Daily Fan poll asks, have you ever burned a sports jersey that you've owned? 96%. We've got just shy of 200 votes. So 96% of you say no. And I'm really interested. We'll have to ask Bodie, because Bodie Wells, producer of Morning Juice, is the one that puts up the Daily Fan poll. I wonder what the genesis of that was. Because I've never thought to.
I mean, it has to be LeBron, the talk of LeBron
returning,
coming to Cleveland again, right?
I guess.
Because that's the first time I really heard of jerseys burning was when LeBron left.
Was he the first one that
I really remember?
I think so. Because there was a lot on social media, people burning their LeBron jerseys, which I never got then, and I don't get now. One of the dumbest things you can do, especially how expensive some of these are. And if you get them from Fanatics, you're like basically flipping a coin. Is this going to be correct? Is this just going to be a completely different team's jersey? But man, you spend so much money on the thing, just thrift it. It might go to a good home. Maybe.
2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Buckeye Lake Marina, Central Ohio's largest selection of new and pre-owned boats. Find your next dream boat at BuckeyeLakeMarina.com.
I goofed there and hit the button before making a point, because with Media Day season, it does give you the just rush of content from conference commissioners. So you've got Brett Yormark, commissioner of the Big 12, stumping for that 5'11 model. This is going to be one of the things that you see over the next 3 weeks, is the conference commissioners, the Big 12, the ACC, and the SEC stumping for the 5+11. Tony Petitti will be on his island, maybe out in Vegas, stumping for the 4-4-2-2-1 model. However that math works out. You're also going to get guys like Cody Campbell, who was Monty, or who was, I think, the real-life inspiration for Monty and Landman. That was John Hamm's character that owned a ton of area in the Permian Basin in West Texas. He tweets, "I'm not going anywhere, bub." when people giving him grief on Twitter about Texas Tech and how they're just a flash in the pan. He says no, it's not going to be the case.
Good for them. I hope he's right. Why not?
The return on that's got to be a Big 12 championship.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it could be great, right, for them in this new NIL world. We'll just have to see how it goes. And make the play now, because you don't know what the next couple years are going to be, and if you can go all in like that. My first thing, I saw Adam Schefter tweet this out this morning, that Quarterback Season 2 hits Netflix today. Now, I will admit I did not watch Quarterback Season 1, and these are usually things that I do not participate in. But I saw a clip going around social media today of Joe Burrow in a game that they won of the Titans, but how angry he was because of how bad they played, and him basically being the head coach when Zach Taylor's over trying to calm him down, saying, I don't care. This isn't good enough. I love Joe Burrow, and I think everybody knows that, and I have complete faith in Joe Burrow. I think he's the second best in the league at his position behind Mr. Mahomes. I think Joe Burrow might have sold me. I think I might be all in on Quarterback Season 2, because I think this is going to be awesome to see him.
I do want to watch it just because I am a Bengals guy and because of Joe Burrow and everything. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. My first thing, Bryce Sensabaugh. He had another masterclass performance in the NBA Summer League, looking like a true breakout star in next year's NBA season. But last night in a comeback win against the Grizzlies in their second game in the Salt Lake City Summer League, Bryce went for 37 points, which was a Summer League record, on 9 of 14 shooting, and was 6 of 9 from 3. And he even had 2 steals, one of them coming in the final seconds that even helped seal the win. So love seeing that from Bryce.
That's kind of the college basketball adjacent talk that we'll allow on this program. So as you may or may not have heard, John Kenzie Noel's getting the call up from AAA Columbus to the big club in Cleveland. It's the wrong guy you're calling up.
Not a fan of Big Christmas.
Well, he's fine. He'll just strike out a bunch. And heaven forbid they have runners in scoring position, because they will leave them stranded. Noel's a fine player, and he's an AAA All-Star, but there's a reason he's been sent up and down so much.
Reese, what about the one time, though, when nobody's on base and he gives you a run with that 500-foot home run when you're down 9-0?
Well, that's a thing. Certainly, and that fits into this segment, 3 things.
It's baseball nowadays, Reese, unfortunately.
I'm thankful for what Big Christmas has authored for the Cleveland Guardians in years past. That is not the call-up you're looking for.
By the way, I just saw this from ESPN Cleveland, Reese. 15 years ago today was the decision with LeBron James. So that's probably
why the genesis of the shirt, the jersey burning.
Fan poll is what it is today. I saw this morning. Patrick Mahomes is going into his 9th year in the NFL. There's a couple times in my life where I've had a holy cow, I'm getting old moment, or holy cow, I am old moment. I don't know why. That was one of them for me today. Patrick Mahomes has been in the league 9 years already?
Yep.
Where did the time go?
It's almost a decade. Insane. Reese, I'm going to do it. One more thing, just because I saw it this morning.
He's forcing it in.
Someone turn his mic off.
He's forcing it in.
No. Now I know how Bo feels when we talk baseball.
The Big East and ESPN are reuniting in a 6-year deal. This will provide additional content from across 22 sports to the network's direct-to-consumer platform set to launch in the fall. So you were going to get about 25 men's basketball games on ESPN Plus. But it's a thing for me because it just brings back so much nostalgia when the Big East tournament was on ESPN. On ESPN, you got the cardiac Kemba. You got the 6 overtime game between Syracuse and UConn in the Garden. Doesn't get much better than Big East basketball.
I was in my freshman dorm room at Pickering Hall watching that game.
Which one? I listed 2.
3 in the morning. Oh, the
6 overtime?
6 overtimes, yeah.
Ridiculous.
The last college basketball talk we do this week, if I have anything to say about it. Final thing for me, I forgot this about Patrick Mahomes, who did a workout on the 4th of July and cameras caught him walking into the team facility. And he said, "I don't do fireworks in July. I do them in February," end quote. There's your villain, the 2025 football season.
So good. So good. Third thing for me, Hunter Green was supposed to be in Columbus tonight, pitching, making a rehab start against the Columbus Clippers over at Huntington Park. That is not happening now. He has had a setback in his recovery from a groin injury. And I just wonder, when will Hunter Green ever be healthy? And if maybe you can get a healthy stretch out of him here down the stretch and he pitches well, maybe it's time for a small market team like the Reds to maybe cash on their chips and trade him, strike while the iron is hot, because he sure seems like a guy that's never going to be healthy in his career.
Yeah, I hate that for my guy HG. The Reds rotation can be really nasty when they are all fully healthy. My third thing, Anthony Rothman is back for Rothman and Ice today. They have Kevin Noon of Buckeye Huddle at 12:30 to talk Buckeyes in response to Josh Pate's claim about Ohio State's expectations.
We're going to do a lot of college football again on the program tomorrow. Jake Trotter's going to join us at 10:30, and our 20 most interesting program series continues. Is the U back?
The U?
We might answer that question for you tomorrow on an episode of Bishop and Friends, 9 to noon on The Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Colin Man here for Universal Windows Direct. Are your leaky windows costing you money? Yes, they are. Right now, when you call my guys at Universal Windows Direct, you get payments as low as $99 a month or 12 months with no payments and no interest. Seriously, upgrade your home now and relax until next year. Call now and get a free in-home window and energy assessment. Choose the payment plan that's right for you. 614-502-5220 or go to universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Runyon from Runyon Dental Group. Are you missing teeth or do you have uncomfortable dentures? Dental implants can not only transform your smile, they can restore your confidence and allow you to eat those foods you love that you've been missing. When I was in my early 30s, I was in a similar situation needing complex dental work and dental implants. I understand all the emotions that you're feeling because I've been the patient and I know that we can help you. Schedule a free consultation today at runyondentalgroup.com. That's runyondentalgroup.com.
For over 78 years, our family's been part of your love stories. At Diamond Seller, we offer bigger diamonds, better prices, and timeless designs for every chapter of your life. From your first yes to your forever I do, trust the jeweler who knows diamonds best. Visit Diamond Seller today.
Did you know even the smallest increase in mortgage rates can cost you thousands of dollars over the life of your loan? Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. It's true, even a 0.25% change in rate can cost you thousands of dollars over the life of your mortgage. But with Third Federal's new Early Rate Lock, you don't have to take chances. Early Rate Lock is the only pre-approval that locks in your rate at pre-approval, even before you find a house. Plus, we're so confident that our rates are the lowest, if you find a lower rate, we'll beat it or give you $1,000. And for a limited time, get pre-approved with Third Federal and we'll pay all of your closing costs. So don't wait. Call Third Federal today.
Right now at Third Federal, even before you find a home, lock in 6.44% APR 6.47% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. Zero closing costs on low-cost loans only. See conditions for lowest rate guarantee at thirdfederal.com. Equal housing lender.
You ever feel like your money is just lying around? Switch to Huntington Bank, and your money is always doing something.
Like what?
Like automatically pushing more to savings so you can take that trip.
I like trips.
Who doesn't? It even tracks your progress. You're almost there.
Well, I better pack.
And it charts your spending so you know which vacation hat you can afford.
How does it know I like hats?
Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome. Eligibility requirements apply. Some features may require enrollment.
Hey, Tinsley, why don't we use EasyCater to order food for staff lunches?
Because my 46-page acronym system is so easy. I just have to salad, stay alert to late arriving deliveries, pie, put in expenses, and Google Pie. Go out and get everyone's preferences and allergy information.
That's supposed to be simple?
No, simple is Stephen, Irma, and Margie prefer lasagna and empanadas.
OMG.
No need to make work life more complicated. Just use EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions. like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Newman Roofing is proud to sponsor the Fan and 10 TV's Beat the Heat fan drive. Help Ohio's most vulnerable residents deal with the extreme heat this summer. Purchase new box fans and take them to the nearest Franklin County Fire Station or buy online. For more information, go to lifecarealliance.org.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent. Hey, Joe Fortenbaugh here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sportsbook for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with the promo code JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.